prohibited by taking action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board on an item included in this section of the agenda, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they approach the podium or appear on our screen. President Salazar, we do not have any participants who wish to address the board at this time.
Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. Seeing none, hearing none, I close the public hearing and I adjourn to closed session to discuss items 1A through 1D. The board will reconvene at the close of closed session. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:37 p.m. and I call this regular meeting to order. I want to everyone joining in this person and via Zoom, we ask those joining us this evening to please silence your electronic devices not linked to this meeting. If you would like to make a public comment, please listen carefully to the directions provided by the clerk at the opening of each public comment period. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, staff, and members of the public, I'd like us to all be reminded of our vision and our mission. Our vision states that Madera Unified will set the standard for hard work, creativity, and resiliency with a fearless drive to continuously improve. I think we have a really good example of that standing in the back. At Madera Unified, our mission says that we are committed to creating and sustaining a culture, enabling Madera Unified students to experience an unparalleled educational journey that is intellectually, socially, and personally transformative. That's the business we're about this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Mrs. Martinez, please call the roll.
Trustee Duque Martinez.
Present.
Trustee Llanos.
Here.
Trustee Ahmad.
Here.
Trustee Cortez.
Here.
Trustee Dybert.
Here.
Trustee Fleek is absent tonight. Trustee Seibert.
Here.
Clerk Mendoza.
Here.
President Salazar.
Here. Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. Trustee Dybert, would you please lead us in a flag salute? Thank you, Trustee Dybert. Tonight's scheduled invocation will be provided by Chaplain Daughtry of Valley State Prison of Madera. I invite Chaplain Daughtry to the podium.
Good evening. It's good to be here. Let's all bow our heads for a word of prayer. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Heavenly Father, thank you for Madera Unified School District board members, trustees. Give them wisdom in their decisions. Shower your blessings on the superintendent, administration, and staff. Protect your students, teachers, and their families. We ask these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Daughtry. Closed session reportable action, Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, in closed session, the board took action to approve resolution number 43-2023/24 and issue notices of reelection / release to probationary and or temporary certificated staff, certificate employees pursuant to Education Code Section 44929.21 and 44954, effective at the end of the 23-24 school year, and directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. The roll call vote was as follows: 6 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. Also, by a vote of 6 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent, the board approved a settlement of a special education dispute in the matter of student versus Madera Unified School District, OAH case number 2023-110687, to be consolidated with case OAH number 2023-110346.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Adoption of the agenda. Mrs. Martinez?
Action to add or delete items from any portion of the agenda or to discuss any consent agenda items must be taken prior to adoption of the agenda. Board Bylaw 9323.2.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Superintendent Lau, does staff have items to add or remove from the agenda?
We do just have a slight modification, President Salazar. We'd ask the board, well, staff is requesting of the board to move item number 11, that's our consent agenda, prior to item number 9, and that's information and reports. We think that will speed up things just a little bit this evening and probably be a little bit fan-friendly to our audience.
Thank you, Superintendent Lau. Trustees, do you have any items to add or delete from the agenda? Thank you. Trustees, do I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as presented? Please state your name when you're making a motion and second the motion.
Trustee Tybert, I move to adopt the agenda as presented with the modification to move item number 11 before item number 9.
Trustee Cybert, I'll second that.
Thank you. It has been moved by trustee Dybert and second by trustee Seibert to adopt the agenda as presented. Ms. Martinez, please pull the board for the record.
Trustee Duque Martinez,
Yes.
trustee Lianos,
Yes.
trustee Ahmad,
Yes.
trustee Cortez,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek is absent. Trustee Seibert,
Yes.
clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar accounted, that's 8. 6, 7, 8. Yes, 6
Yes.
ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the votes are preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Item number 6, communication, student and staff recognition. Item 6A, recognition of a Torres High School CIF Division 5 Boys Wrestling Champions. Superintendent Lyle.
So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board, I would like to introduce, to all of our thousands of viewers out there on Zoom, to our district athletic director, Mr. Marty Bitter. And as Marty makes his way up here, I want to try to not take for granted the fact that we keep doing this. Now, this is for some of us, we recognize that championship after championship is not normal in Madera Unified. It's actually historic. So let's all take real good stock of the fact that we have kids at Torres and at Madera High and Madera South this year really making history. This group of kids is going to be in the history books for a really long time, as Mr. Bitter will attest. And I just want to share with Mr. Bitter in front of everyone, I had the chance to spend about an hour with a Hall of Fame wrestling coach named Corky Napier over the weekend. And he and I talked at length about the renewal of the tradition of wrestling in Madera and how proud he is to see what the kids do and hear the way coaches and kids and fans all around the San Joaquin Valley are reacting to the growth of Torres as a championship, very young dynasty. And he really believes that this is absolutely in line with the traditions this community has come to expect. And he's really, really excited. I could not be more excited myself. I'm glad I wasn't a wrestler, but I'm glad you guys are. And we're really proud of you. And Mr. Bitter, if you would.
I remember to turn it on this time.
Well, you should be getting good at this by now.
Yeah. Thank you. Superintendent Lyle, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board. To be honest with you, it doesn't get old. And I couldn't help but think back there, might be time maybe to get a little bit bigger boardroom so we can fit in all the people, which is kind of a good problem to have.
I second that.
Yeah. Appreciate the kind words. When you get in the wrestling realm, we also received a huge compliment from Sparky Phelps. And when you get a compliment from Corky Napier and Sparky Phelps, that's a job well done here in Madera. And tonight, Jordan is unable to be with us. He showed up at the AD meeting this morning and I told him, you got to go home. He did not look good. He was trying to tough it out. But I'm going to speak a little bit on his behalf and with regards to Torres Wrestling. And I want to introduce Coach Sean Carlson, and he can introduce his coaches and his kids. But if Coach wouldn't mind coming up here real quick. Sean was here with us in Madeira. He was teaching at Martin Luther King, coaching wrestling at Martin Luther King, and was coaching wrestling at Madeira South. And ended up slipping away from us and went to Kerman for a couple years. But I think he always wanted to be head of a program here in Madeira. And at the time that he left, we just didn't have that opportunity. So we were very, very blessed when Torres opened to get a coach of his caliber back in Madeira. And there's many things that go along with that. But wrestling is probably, out of all of our sports, as you open up schools, you deplete your athlete pool. But all three, I would say that sport, out of all the sports, is very, very solid across the board in all three high schools. And it's due to the time and the effort that these coaches put in. Not only does Sean coach the high school team, but he has a very established club team that most of these kids wrestle in, as well as, I can't even tell you how much they do for our mules programs. Now every Friday, all of our mules kids that are in each pyramid go to the high school. So he sets up all 6 mats every Friday, and they make it an event for our elementary kids, boys and girls. And what we've seen is just the numbers continue to grow. Not only that, it's the tournaments that he puts on. It's the time that he gives. And obviously, I told the kids a little bit earlier, I didn't get a chance to thank them that day. But when we hosted at Selland Arena, that was a huge undertaking. And before even saying yes, I always ask the coaches, are we up for this? Because I know it's going to take all hands on deck. And Sean is always the first to say, let's roll, let's do it. If it's for the kids, let's do it. And many of these kids, a few of them wrestled that day, but the rest of them were out there in force, moving mats and making sure that the whole process, they did all the dirty work. And without them, it just wouldn't have went off as it did. So I am seriously indebted to Coach Carlson. I want to congratulate him. This is not one, but second year in a row as section champions. And obviously, I think Coach knows his program's going to get bumped because they're just too dominant where they are. They're going to get bumped up, which is a good thing. But without further ado, Coach Sean Carlson.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board. I am deeply honored and humbled to stand before you today as the head coach of having a back-to-back boys wrestling Division V title. This achievement represents the accumulation of team's dedication, sacrifice, and unwavering determination. I am immensely grateful to have my coaches, Torres High School, Torres admin, wrestlers, wife, my family, and wrestling family whose support and guidance have been instrumental on this journey. This victory is not just ours, but a testament to the power of resilience, hard work, and unwavering belief in our team. Thank you for recognizing this memorable occasion with us. Thank you.
Sean, you can announce each one of them into the microphone by name and then have them, if they,
They want to go this
if
way?
they would, they could maybe do this and then shake hands and come back and we'll take a picture together. Okay?
Go this way.
Yeah. Either
Marty,
way is fine.
Marty Corona. Owen Walters. Amir Glacia. Michael Creel. Alonso Del Toro. Joshua Lee. Angelo Adami. Abram Galvan. Alex Salas. Aiden Salas. Pablo Adami. And Coach Sean Good.
Put them in two, yeah. let's get all of us, sometimes it's a better picture if we all come here just so, or at least our heads are floating above the kids.
Can you point out which kids?
Pretty exciting. Thank you, Frank. Please do. At Torres, it looks like championship rings are the new black. Everyone's wearing them. Pretty soon there's gonna be counterfeit ones around campus because people just want to fit in. That's an entrepreneurial opportunity right there. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Superintendent Lyle, if you don't mind, right before I leave, I also want to give a shout out to the parents that are here. Wrestling is a community, and that was one of the reasons we took on the section championships because the wrestling families are just all in. And we had so many of them that took a table at the section championships and scored and did stuff like that. And without the wrestling community that we have here in Madeira, many of these parents were part of that. But you just can't do it. So very thankful for the parents as well.
So Marty, before you all go, and I really hope our parents hear this tonight, we had a discussion in 2017, and I think it was like July, and then Sandon was in the room, Mr. Schwartz, Ms. Sissel and I, we were all in the room. Mr. Crosco was there. We had kind of a raging argument about what a vision and mission would be like for Madera Unified. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you this. One of the things that came up in that discussion was how do we capture who we've always been and the qualities of what we've always been and who exemplifies that best? I guarantee you, I promise you, we talked about Madera Wrestling. We talked about the longstanding tradition of this community being a wrestling town. That's exactly what Coach Napier wanted to talk about. This has been a wrestling town forever. The families have always been all in, right?
Mhm.
Always. And the kids have always been super resilient. They have always found a way. And nobody wanted to wrestle a Madera kid. It didn't matter if they were going to win or not, because it was going to hurt them. Madera kids were going to give it to them from the beginning to the end, right? And I think it's really important that we recognize, and this board was really clear to us about a mission and vision. It can't be what we aren't. It needs to be what we've been and what we aspire to be. And we literally talked about what are our assets in the community. And we talked about the word resilience is up there specifically because we had discussions about the kinds of kids over the years that have shown us that, and wrestling was one of our premier examples.
Yep.
So, I mean, they've always been in our thinking around this because they've been such a feature of our success and our community identity for the last, 75 years at least.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really awesome opportunity to continue that tradition. And I'm really glad Coach Carlson's there. Thank you for all the support. Ms. Rodriguez is here. I saw her somewhere. The Toro staff does a fantastic job of supporting, and they are really bringing the vision and the mission to life. It's a real thing. It's not just printed on a wall. It's absolutely alive at Torres High School.
Yep, very much so. So thank you.
Now the Madera minutes, Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, and all of our fans out there in Zoom land, here's what we've been up to the last couple of weeks. Here are some highlights.
A glimpse of what their future can look like is what Madera Unified sixth grade students experienced at the district's Career Pathway Fair at the Madera Fairgrounds. The event helps students learn about career opportunities like health specialists, first responders, television news, and more. Madera Unified BSU clubs attended the Middle School African American Student Leadership Conference at Clovis North High School. The students participated in breakout sessions where they met with different professional mentors that helped spark students' interest in a number of different careers. Madera Unified students were booked on reading as the district celebrated Read Across America with different activities to promote literacy and the love of reading. The district welcomed several enthusiastic readers, such as MUSD Board President Lucy Salazar, Trustee Gladys Dybert, local first responders, and on-air personalities from ABC 30 and Fox 26. In other things, Madera South High School won Madera County's mock trial competition for the first time. County judges and local attorneys helped coach the students. Madera South will compete in the state's mock trial competition next month. Adams Elementary student Elani Hernandez won first place in the voting sticker art contest among 300 participants. Her artwork was featured on a special sticker given to all Madera County citizens during the March primaries. On the same award subject, MUSD's Communications Department received 2 Excellence Awards from the California School Public Relations Association, a statewide organization that promotes better public understanding, commitment, and support of public education. The winning submissions were for the MUSD Madera Minutes videos in the June 2023 edition of the We Believe newspaper. And ready, set, go! Students across Madera Unified competed in the Mules Track and Field Championships held at Madera South High School. Hundreds of students received medals highlighting first, second, and third place. The students who placed will be able to compete in the Madera County Youth Championship meet at the end of April. And what better way to end this Madera Minutes than by highlighting the CIF Central Section Division 4 champions, the Torres High School football team. After a historic victory, the Toros received their championship rings.
Thank you. Now for public hearing for visitors who wish to speak on a subject not on the board agenda. Mrs. Martinez?
15 minutes of this portion of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the school board. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. If the subject is an item on the agenda, the board president has the option of asking the speaker to hold the comment until that item is called. Comments on items listed as a public hearing on the agenda should be held until the public hearing is opened. The school board is prohibited by law from taking action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board on an item not on the board agenda, please step up to the podium, state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they approach the podium or appear on our screen. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Seeing or hearing no one, I close public hearing. Item number 7, Student Board Representative Report. Laura Mendoza Soria of Madera High School and Hector Hernandez of Alternative Education. I invite Laura Mendoza Soria to present the Madera High School Student Board Representative Report.
Speaking of wrestling.
Good evening, Board President Salazar, Superintendent Lyle, Clerk Mendoza, and all members and community members. I hope you are all doing well today. On March 6th, our baseball team beat Hanford West 8-1, earning Coach Underwood his 200 career win. Congrats to another milestone. Last Saturday, our soccer team kicked off the first ever Little Coyote futsal season with hundreds of elementary students at our gym. Next slide, please. Linkrew held their monthly meeting where they prepared for the academic follow-up, targeting all freshman classes. The topic on my honor was centered around integrity and making good choices. Next slide, please. On March 2nd, Madera High School Winter Guard competed in Hanford, where they earned second place overall. Congratulations to our hardworking Coyotes. Last week, we began celebrating International Women's Day by creating sweet treats for our staff, hanging decorations, and highlighting important women throughout campus. The Maya Club volunteered at the Ronald McDonald's house by preparing meals and baking delicious chocolate chip cookies for their families to enjoy. Additionally, our Flocarico Club was featured performer at the International Women's Day Conference hosted by the AAUW Madera chapter. Since the beginning of the month, Madera High School leaders and clubs such as FCCLA, the Dreamers, and Mexican American have actively participated in Read Across America by visiting the elementary schools to read to our future Coyotes. Last week, our students were able to surprise Adams and Washington Elementary with their favorite games, books, and mascot. Last week, our activities director and members of our climate culture team attended the California's Directors of Activities State Conference. We heard from national keynotes, attended workshops, and networked with hundreds of other educators across the Western United States. A special shout out to Mr. Speed at Soares, who received the Area C Service Award, and Mr. Lopez, who was recognized for his seasoned leadership, where he received a pen commemorizing 15 years as an activities director. Thank you to the district and Principal Crossgrove for the continued support. Next slide. Our ASB leadership class and Mexican American Club woke up extra early and braved the rain to participate in the annual Valley Children's Kids Day event. We sold special edition papers for $2 and proud to report we raised over $1,500. Unofficial, we are excited to learn that the Valley Children's we will have raised nearly $500,000 today. Thank you to all who supported the cause and brought a paper. These are some upcoming events coming up. And thank you. Oh.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mendoza Soria. I now invite Hector Hernandez to present the Alternative Education Student Board Representative Report.
Good afternoon. I believe Hector's not present, but I'm Mrs. Hilda Castrillon, the principal of Furman High. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I am representing Hector Hernandez, and I will be presenting the information on behalf of the alternative education schools. Next slide, please. First of all, we'll start with for Mount Vista High School. Next slide, please. Mount Vista would like to take the time to recognize Nathaniel Cerros as their second quarter student hero. Nathaniel was always demonstrating responsibility, gratitude, and kindness when interacting with students and staff. Next slide, please. On February 9th, Mount Vista participated in some fun lunchtime activities prior to Super Bowl Sunday. Students were able to wear their NFL jerseys and also participated in an accuracy quarterback drill and farthest throw competition. All students were treated to some delicious nachos and won gift cards for participating in these events. Next slide, please. The heart attack event is designed to have students find their Valentine heart that was cut out for them and placed all around the school. This was a fun activity and brought memories of their elementary years when students received their Valentine cards. Students and staff all joined in the fun. Next slide, please. 11 students participated in the school ambassador training on February 15th and 16th. These students will serve as upstanders on the Mount Vista campus. Next slide, please. On February 21st, Mount Vista held a pancake day to celebrate National Pancake Day. Parents and students were able to enjoy some hot, freshly made mini pancakes with all the toppings. Parents were dropping off students. We made sure we came out to invite them and deliver them some good pancakes. Parents and students alike enjoyed this event. Next slide, please. On March 4th, students from Mount Vista participated in the Read Across America, Dr. Seuss, by reading books to the Millville Elementary, TK through third grade students. This was a great way for Mount Vista students to connect with Millville students and share some time reading. Next slide, please. On March 1st, student Fernando Arguello became the first early graduate that Mount Vista has had in a long time. His plan is to enlist in the Marines and serve our country. Next slide, please. On March 8th, Mount Vista participated in the Yosemite Dragon Hoop Fest basketball tournament in the city of Merced. The team went 1-2 for the day, and senior by Leo Fisher was awarded the sportsmanship player of the tournament. Congratulations to her. Next slide, please. Ripperton is next. Family style is a focus when we come together for our Fun Friday activities. Here are some staff and students did their best to recreate the burrito bowls that have become a smash hit during our lunch period. Student leadership members are serving both staff and students while everyone enjoy the Friday festivities. Next slide, please. Some of our athletes from Ripperton had an opportunity to go to Merced and participate in a basketball tournament. In talking to our coach, they may not have won the game, but each of our students came away with high character praises for their coach, from their coach, as they were able to conduct themselves like the young, impressive people they are, along with showing great sportsmanship to their opponents. We're so proud of our kids. Next slide, please. We are always seeking ways to praise and uplift our young people. Here we are celebrating our Students of the Month winners. We had a tie in high school, so both students were honored and celebrated. Special shout out to all of our winners. Next slide. Special shout out and thank you to the administration and support staff at Desmond, who have continued to have our student leadership team out to speak to our middle school kiddos in a membership model. This opportunity has empowered our kids in understanding their value and potential as future leaders and role models. Next slide, please. Furman High School. Next slide, please. A big shout out to all our fantastic Furman students who brought so much joy and kindness to the Great Kindness Challenge. We're over the moon seeing their amazing efforts and promoting character counts. Next slide, please. We are thrilled to share that our college and FAFSA Day was a huge success. We had a high number of students attending. We were pleased to see our students taking such proactive steps towards their futures. We had many of them fill out their community college applications and complete the FAFSA. Next slide, please. Several students received a special recognition during Furman's ELAC and School Site Council meeting for being nominated student heroes throughout the fall semester due to their outstanding character counts traits. We had many parents and guardians show up for this special recognition. Next slide, please. In February, we celebrated Black History Month with class lessons, art, music, and highlighting our African-American heroes. Our students gained valuable insights into their impact on history. We wrapped up the month with a delicious traditional Southern meal, courtesy of our own Furman High heroes. We are richer due to the lessons that we have learned. Next slide, please. Furman High and Mount Vista staff joined forces on the planning of a joint prom that will take place on Friday, May 10th at the San Joaquin Winery. The theme is Enchanted Forest. All juniors, seniors, and leadership students are invited to participate. Please contact Furman High or Mount Vista High for tickets. Next slide, please. All of the alternative ed schools sites believe in helping all students finish strong and graduate. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move on to student board member information and reports. Emily Duca Martinez of Torres High School and Davali Lianos of Madera South High School. Trustee Duque Martinez, I invite you to share your report with the board.
Thank you. Good evening, buenas tardes, President Salazar, Superintendent Lyle, Kirk Mendoza, members of the board, staff, and members of the public. On the 22nd and 23rd days of February, diverse groups of handpicked students from all grade levels completed a Safe School Ambassador training aimed to better prepare them for a variety of situations along with altercations. To conclude the month, members of our peer counseling program took time out of their schedules to share their big kid knowledge, as described by one of our little friends, with the future Toros at Nishimoto Elementary. Those within the program have left lasting impressions while branching out towards the community in anticipation of shining a warm light on mental health and its resources. With that being said, our FNL program alongside our community club had the opportunity to host workshops led by a professional Hollywood production team in order to film a public service announcement or PSA aimed towards the community of Madera as a whole. These workshops welcome students from the chapters in addition to participants from our leadership, HOSA, CSF, and drama programs. We wait with excitement as the filming process is set to begin within the next couple of weeks and will be shared to the community upon our return from spring break. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Duque Martinez. Now I invite Trustee Lianos, I invite you to share your report with the board.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, Trustee, Superintendent Lyle, and distinguished guests. I hope you're all doing well this evening. This Friday, we will have our Blacklight Rally, and in the afternoon, we will be hosting our first ever mixer dance with Madera High, Torres, and Madera South. On Monday, students came together at Madera South for a workday to help create decorations and brainstorm different ideas to make the dance great. Last week, I sent out a student survey to get feedback from students on campus. Students have expressed that they are doing well this semester and have enjoyed being on campus. Students have also expressed that teachers have been helpful while being in the classroom. One question I asked was, what can help you while being in the classroom? Many students responded and said that they would like to be able to listen to music while doing independent work. I think it would be a great idea to be able to create a motivational playlist that will allow students to listen, learn, and boost their moods while being in the classroom. I plan to create a Google form for students to be able to send out song recommendations. This playlist can be sent out to all teachers and can be played in the classroom at any time. That concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lianos. Now we're going to jump to item number 11, Superintendent's time.
I think we're going to do the consent agenda.
Excuse that. We're going to do the consent agenda. Mrs. Martinez.
Items listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine and are acted on by the Board of Trustees in one motion. There is no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board or staff requests specific items be considered and discussed separately and/or removed from the consent agenda prior to the adoption of the agenda. It is understood that the administration recommends approval on all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the Board of Trustees shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended.
Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. I now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. State your name when making the motion and when you second the motion. Trustees?
Ahmad make motion to approve consent Agenda as stated.
Trustee Cyber, I'll second it.
It has been moved by trustee Ahmad and second by trustee Cyber to approve the consent agenda. There are 4 resolutions in the consent agenda. Mrs. Martinez, please pull the board for the record.
Trustee Duca Martinez,
Yes.
trustee Lianos,
Yes.
trustee Ahmad,
Yes.
trustee Cortez,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek is absent, trustee Cybert,
Yes.
clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
president Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, 1 absent, and 2 of the votes were preferential.
Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. At this time, I would like to take this opportunity to thank and acknowledge the following retirees of their service, not only to Madera Unified, but also for their service and commitment to Madera community. Karen Newbert, teacher at Lincoln, will retire on June 6, 2024, after 24 years of service. Faith Haig, teacher at Thomas Jefferson, will retire on June 6, 2024, after 13 years of service. I thank you guys for all your dedication, and if you see them, please thank them for us. Superintendent Lau, do you have any administrative announcements?
I do. I have 4, which is pretty exciting for us. Our very first one is a lady who in Madera Unified really doesn't need a whole lot of introduction because she's really served her whole career here and came through Madera School. She's a Coyote born and bred, and she's going to actually just work right down the street. And is the full circle moment because she gets to go back to the school that in which she put a whole lot of years of her career. Our new principal at Alpha Elementary School is not only a very dedicated, talented, and incredibly bright young lady, but she's also someone who has fierce determination. I'm really excited about her appointment at Alpha because I just feel like the stars aligned for her to be in just exactly the right spot. And after a few years of some pretty tough work at Madera South High School and the Ag Academy, I think Jennifer Burns Salceda is going to make one heck of a principal at Alpha Elementary School. Ms. Salceda?
This thing on? Yeah, okay. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, Superintendent Lyle. It's with great honor and excitement that I stand before you today. As a native of Madera and a proud product of the Madera schools, I do bring with me 23 years of dedication to education. Returning to the school where my career with Madera Unified first began, I'm not a new face, but a familiar one, eager to reconnect with the wonderful community of Alpha Elementary School. I would like to express my gratitude to the board for entrusting me with this incredible opportunity. My career in education was shaped by a diverse range of experiences, including primary, intermediate, and special education experiences in the classroom, as well as a vice principalship at not only Lincoln Elementary School, but Madera South High School. All of these experiences have provided me with insights, experiences, and skills that I will bring with me to my new position as principal at Alpha. And so I thank you once again for granting me with this opportunity. And I eagerly anticipate collaborating with each of you to guarantee the success and the well-being for every student at Alpha Elementary School. I would like to take a moment to introduce to you my family and thank them for their unwavering support throughout my career. I have a couple people here, so I'll start with my husband, Matt Salceda, who recently became a teacher here with Madera Unified and just is rocking the CTE world with public safety. So really good things coming out of that. Matt and I have 2 absolutely amazing children. First, I'll introduce my son, Logan. Thanks, Logan. Logan is currently working here in Madera at Evapco, so he's going to have to scoot out here real quick. He just took a minute to come watch. So I'm grateful to him for that. But also, He's working at Avapco while he takes the time to prepare himself. He is enlisting in the United States Air Force. He will be a third generation airman. So kudos to him and aim high, Logan. Right behind Logan is Holly. Holly is currently a senior at Buchanan High School, and this one's a little bit difficult, but this August we will fly Holly out to Virginia, where she was invited to play water polo at a D1 college. It's also very prestigious military institute. So Holly will be playing water polo for Virginia Military Institute for the next 4 years. So Holly va Mil. In addition to that, you know, people who are always there for me, my mom and dad. So thank you for being here and thank you for all your support. And then of course, you know, couldn't be here without my sister and my brother-in-law. So thank you for coming, guys. I really appreciate it. Once again, thank you. And I too am a proud airman. So integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all I do. That's my promise to you.
So what's really fun now is somebody gets to follow that. So let's rip the bandage off. We have a new principal at Pershing Elementary School. To remind the audience, all our viewers out there in Zoom land, Christina Riche, the current principal, is moving over to lead the development of a brand new school that doesn't exist yet, but will go shovels in the ground here in a few months, called King Hussein School. And it's a pretty massive undertaking. But that leaves a leadership challenge that needs to be addressed at Pershing Elementary. Now, Pershing has a really long and, really short, but pretty storied history. And it's had a really fantastic culture that has been really well protected and well led from the very beginning to now. So it takes a lot to really think through the right fit for that role. And we made it harder. Not only is there an autism program there, but we also have a dual language strand at Pershing that's really important to all of us. And it's obviously really important to those students and their families. So Pershing's a challenging school to lead with a whole lot of different dynamics, but that takes somebody who has the brain power, the experience, the dedication, and the willingness to sacrifice and lead by example. And I think we found the exact right person, really outstanding former teacher and one of the ladies that helped us open the dual language program at Madison as a teacher on special assignment. But today she'll be leading Pershing Elementary School, and that is the former vice principal beginning on July 1st, the former vice principal of Desmond Middle School, and the future Pershing principal is Amanda Musso.
Thank you so much. It's going to be really hard to follow that speech. So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, trustees, and Superintendent Lyle, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to continue serving in Madera by being the new principal of Pershing Elementary. Madera Unified has inspired me to excel in a strong instructional institution, helped me gather a deeper understanding of diverse cultures, and has pushed me to work hard so that I can pour everything that I have into this community. First, I would like to thank my husband and my family who are here with me today. They have had a huge impact in the person that I've become. I want to thank the entire Desmond community. For the past 4 years, I have grown in knowledge and experience throughout my time at Desmond. I have learned so much from the teachers and the staff to help shape me into the administrator I am today. I am grateful for the Desmond administration team for challenging me through difficult situations. To the students who each day teach me new things and keep me inspired to support them through life's challenges. I'd also like to thank my Parkwood and Madison families as well, who helped develop me into an educator. With that being said, I'm really excited to join the Pershing community. I will dedicate myself to the school and continue to support the hard work and effort that has already been done and started by the teachers and staff. Thank you again for this opportunity to being able to support Madera Unified. Before I conclude, I just want to introduce my family as well. So I have in the audience with me my husband, Robert. I have my parents, Catherine and Ayad Aram. I have my little brother, Yusuf. I have my Aunt Mary. And then I also have my in-laws, Bob and Colette. And I also have Mr. Holt, my principal. So I just wanted to introduce them as well. So thank you again, guys. I appreciate it.
I mean, to keep up with the airman theme, right? Like, I think Mr. Holt's kind of pushing you out of the nest, but like Ms. Sa said, we're pretty confident you're gonna fly. Our third appointee this evening with the board's action was a real change that I don't think we're gonna be very popular with over at Mount Vista High School. Mount Vista, for our fans out in Zoomland who don't know, is a really powerful small school with a staff that really is probably exemplifies the balance between high expectations and compassion. And they've had really fantastic leadership too for quite a number of years. They do have a really polished principal who's gaining a lot of experience over the last few years between his time at Madera High and at Mount Vista as well. And he brings a really interesting lens through his life story and his counseling experience and his school leadership experience to MLK. Martin Luther King, for those of us in Madera Unified who have spent any number of years here and have served the east side of our community, we know that Martin Luther King is a really important school where kids find a lot of opportunity to grow, and there's a lot of hope, and there needs to be that compassion and high expectation balance. So we didn't think there was anybody better to lead that than Mr. Alejandro Juarez.
Good evening, Board President Salazar, Board Clerk Mendoza, Superintendent Lyle, and Board Trustees. I think Mr. Lyle kind of stole my speech, but I'm going to say this. I'm a man of very few words. I'm learning to, voice, have my voice in my outer voice. I lead a lot by example. Relationships to me is key. That's first and foremost to make those connections with students, with staff, to come along. We talked about compassion, having empathy, but still having those high standards. That's what I plan to bring with me. Replicate some of the growth that we've had at Mountain Vista High School, and continue to build and have that, the hope for our students at MLK. I'm excited for the opportunity, but I know that opportunity comes a lot of responsibility, and I'm taking that responsibility head on. And I hope that within these next few years that we're together, that you will see the fruits of my labor, staff labor. I mean, I know that there's a lot of good work that's taking place at MLK now, and so we'll continue with that work as well. So thank you once again for that opportunity. I'm excited about this next journey and hope to continue to inspire our students here at Madera Unified. Thank you.
And lastly, our fourth appointee this evening, speaking of the east side of Madera, for those of us that have spent our time there, we recognize like when you work with kids from, Madera kids are kind of all the same, but there's just something a little bit special about the kids in east side Madera. They sometimes imagine that the community maybe cares a little bit less. And I don't think that that's true in my experience, but I understand where that comes from. And it's not acceptable that we don't do something to combat it and to put our heads down and smash that wherever we can. And I think that really starts with leadership. And so we're really trying to continue the growth of our Purple Pyramid. We want to try to continue to help all the principals there to feel supported, the students to feel valued. And we need to really find the right level, and I use the word balance again, we need to find the right levels of balance between those really high expectations and bringing our mission and vision to life, but never losing sight that student champions have to start with compassion. And so we feel so very fortunate that we were able to find a really talented lady, a recently achieved her doctorate, has served in a wide variety of posts in Clovis Unified and in Fresno Unified. She's originally an Edison Tiger. And for those of us who have I've had a lot of experience with Edison kids over the years. Speaking of resilience, there's nothing like the resilience of an Edison Tiger. And when you put an Edison Tiger in leadership, watch out. And ladies and gentlemen, the lady that I'm about to introduce to you as she leaves Kasner Intermediate and takes on the leadership of the Purple Pyramid, I think is going to be a tiger in that role. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Dr. May Mua.
Good evening, Board President Lucy Salazar and board members, as well as Superintendent Lyle. Thank you so much for allowing me to be able to say a few words of thanks and appreciation. I first want to thank all of you for the opportunity to serve as Area Assistant Superintendent in the Purple Pyramid. I'm excited to join the Madera Unified School District family and can't wait to learn more about the Madera Unified and all the great things that the Purple Pyramid has already been doing. In 19 years of education, I couldn't have done it without the people that I brought here with me tonight and also zooming in. So you may have noticed I brought a few people with me tonight, my husband, John Yang, my daughter, Joycelyn, and my son, Matthias. These three individuals have been vital to my success as they have been with me on my career journey this entire time. And they're the reason why I do what I do. Though my parents, siblings, and their spouses, I have a big family. There's 9 siblings, and parents and everything. So I share that in my interview. But I come from a very big family. And so my siblings, my parents, and their spouses, along with my nieces and nephews, they're not able to join us physically, but I know that they are here in unison, whether it be through Zoom or in spirit. I want to acknowledge them for also their endless support, prayers, and words of encouragement every step of the way in my educational and career journey. And a few of my friends, they've surprised me tonight as well. They're in the back. I do want to introduce them. They first started out as friends, but now they're family to me. Miss Amber Kalushin, Jamie Rivera, and Mitch Rivera. They're all in the back. They're here tonight to support me in this new journey that I'm embarking on here in Madera. Last but not least, I want to thank God for always blessing me with opportunities that I get to serve others. I also am looking forward to working really hard and serving the students and staff and communities in the Purple Pyramid. I thank you so much again for entrusting me with this responsibility to lead this amazing area that I will be embarking on. Thank you so much.
Well, we'll call that a successful week.
Yes. Thank you,
Welcome,
Superintendent.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Welcome. Welcome aboard and change of positions. Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Item number 10, information and reports. And now we go on to a high-speed rail update. At this time, I invite Regional Director Garth Fernandez of the California High-Speed Rail Authority to address the board. Mr. Fernandez?
Well, I
It's
stand
not
up,
that they're
everybody
afraid of you.
leaves.
You didn't choose the movement. They might want to go to dinner to celebrate or something. Mr. Fernandez, wait like a minute or two for that way they clear the audience. Let's wait a minute or two so that we clear the audience a bit. And we get superintendent back up here. Okay, Mr. Fernandez, you could proceed. Thank you.
Well, good evening, President Salazar, Superintendent Lyle, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board. My name is Garth Fernandez, and the last time I stood here before you, it was 2022. I don't know if you remember, but I was talking about Road 27. and some of the challenges that we had over there in our closure. Today, I'm here. At that time, I did promise to come back when we were going to do Road 26, because we're going to have some of the similar closures and challenges. So I wanted to update you on what we are doing and how we are going to do it differently this time. Before I start, I'd like to introduce my deputy, Tony Tinoco. She's in the audience. She does a lot of our stakeholder management and outreach efforts. And hopefully you have heard through all of the interactions that we've had with the communities right now that we are doing a much better job we did than when we started with Road 27. So what I'm going to do today is give you a little update on where we are as a program for the state, and then focus on give you a high level update on where we are at Road 26, and hopefully we can have some time for questions after. So where we are today, so as you may be aware, we are constructing 119 miles in the valley, and that goes all the way from where the Amtrak station is, where Road 26 is right now, all the way to south of Wasco. Apart from that, we have 52 miles where we are advancing a design work that takes us into the city of Bakersfield at the station and the city of Merced, and an intermodal station out there. We are also doing a lot of environmental work. We're clearing 494 miles. That would clear all of San Francisco to Los Angeles. We are going to take that one piece of that document, that is the Palmdale to Burbank section, that's in that piece right there, to our board sometime this year. So then we'll have all of the environmental clear all the way from San Francisco to Los Angeles. We are also working on some critical bookend projects, and the bookend projects are electrifying the Caltrain corridor all the way from San Francisco to San Jose to accommodate when we get and use their shared corridor to get us to the Bay Area. And then we're also working with Metro down south to make some improvements to the Los Angeles Union Station to accommodate us, and some through tracks that help with getting transit down south. We also working on some specific grade separations, like we have done in Madera. We have grade separated a lot of the at-grade railroad crossings. We did partner with LA Metro and down south to do some of that similar work out there. We are excited because now we are starting to work on acquiring the train sets. We are working on stations, and we have 4 stations that we're actively working on. That's the Merced, Fresno Station, Kings Tulare, and Bakersfield. And you will see there's a stop right here in Madera, and that's the San Joaquin Joint Powers is working with us to move that Amtrak station from Route 26 to a location between 13 and 12 along our alignment that could future become a stop at the high-speed rail corridor. So we are broken down into 3 basic packages. You've probably seen trucks out here in Madera. CP1, that's construction package 1, that's from Avenue 19 all the way to Fresno, just south of Fresno. Tudor, Perini, Zachary, and Parsons is our contractor. And it's roughly 32 miles. And then we have 2 other contracts. Construction package 2-3, that's our biggest contract. It's 65 miles that goes all the way down to the Kern County line. And then we have our 3rd package, which is now substantially complete. It's 22 miles, and that is California Rail Builders. One of the things that we are very proud of is the amount of effort that we have put in this project to develop the jobs and created the jobs that we have for this. We are very proud for over 12,900 jobs that we've created. And the key component to that is majority of the jobs come from the surrounding communities that we are actually working in. So if you can see the right over here shows you exactly where those numbers are coming from, and 70% of that number comes from these counties. We have about 25 to 30 sites open in the 119 miles, and at any time we have roughly around 1,400 to 600 construction workers every day on these job sites, and 75% of these workers come from these disadvantaged communities. The other thing that we are doing is we are preparing for the future, and we are partnered with City of Selma, Fresno EDC, and the trades to have a pre-apprenticeship program that we have in the city of Selma, where we are training the workforce. And we have already graduated, I believe it's 176 students And we've been doing this for a year, maybe 2 years now. And so that is every 12 weeks, I get to go out at the graduation and to hear all of the comments that I get from the students of how this is potentially going to change their lives. Is really heartening, and I'm very excited about that. We also employing, about 820 small businesses, and 220 of those are right here from the Central Valley. So a lot of work going on. You may have heard we just got a $3 billion grant from the federal government. This was the biggest single grant that the federal government gave us. And the good news was it was not only for our project in California. There's another high-speed rail project that's called the Bright Line that's going to connect Nevada down to Southern California. They got another $3 billion. And so it was, the federal government finally committing to high-speed rail as a transportation project, as a new transportation project. We've got our project there's no consistent funding for high-speed rail, and so we constantly apply for grants, and we're trying to build this project with the grants. So you can see we got a $202 million grant for doing some work in Shafter, and we got several other raised grants that helped us advance some of the design work. So this is what Road 26 is going to look like. I have some slides that probably gives you a sense of what this is going to look like. We're going to grade separate Road 26, and that we're going to take Road 26 and go over the existing railroad tracks. It's going to be about 636 feet long. It's going to span both the existing Union Pacific, BNSF railroad tracks that we have over there, and the future high-speed rail tracks. And if you look at a perspective, this is, if you're standing on my left, on the left-hand side, that's looking north. You can see this is what it's going to look like in the future. It's fully grade separated, so no more having to wait at that grade separation for the train. It significantly increases north-south mobility. At the same time we are building this, we are also building a brand new crossing across the railroad tracks on Avenue 17. That crossing does not exist right now. Avenue 17 dead ends at the railroad track, so we're going to put another crossing. So finally, when we are all done, we're going to have Road 27 that's grade separated, Road 26 that's grade separated, and then we'll have Road 17 that also goes to enhance east-west mobility. So this is another picture of what that crossing looks like. Now you all know Road 26 is a 2-lane road right now, but when we build this, we're going to build it to accommodate 4 lanes on the structure itself. So any future widening for Road 26 will already be accommodated in the structure that we built. One of the challenges that we had in Road 27, and I remember we're coming over here and talking about this, was we started that project too early. And one of the commitments I made to you guys was that when we do Road 26, it's going to be different. We're going to make sure that we had all the agreements in place. We made sure we have all of the utilities that needed to get relocated done. And we would wait till that point in time if we were ready. And I don't know whether you remember, but we were talking about starting construction sometime in 2023. And the reason we are in 24 is because we were not ready. And so we are now at a point in time where we have moved all of the utilities that we needed to move. We have got all the agreements that were needed in place, and we are ready to start closing the facility. So we have done also. So we understand that this is going to be a disruption to the neighborhood, and so we did multiple public meetings. This is a couple of meetings that we did in Berenda Elementary. We actually have done 3 to date. We did one on December 4th, we did February 15th, and we did one, I believe it was Thursday last week. As you can see, there was a lot of people that wanted to show up because of some of the experiences they had on Road 27. And we do understand that while there's going to be an inconvenience to the public as we build this, ultimately the benefit is going to be significant in terms of safety, in terms of movement around that area. So we're also working with all of the emergency services, the police, the sheriff, the fire, ambulance, to make sure that they are aware. We did reach out to the excuse me, the Director of Transportation. We understand there's going to be maybe some modification that they may need to make to the bus routes, but they are aware of that. And we'll keep them updated as we get into construction. Now, there were a lot of comments that we got when we went out to the community, especially in light of the school being right there at the corner of 27. So I'll tell you a little bit about what we are doing when we talk about our plan to move traffic around. This is just saying that we are all done with all the utilities, and so we are now ready to actually move forward with our project. This is just a picture of where, the existing, what's happening over there. This is road, let me see, this is road 26 over here. This is Club Drive, and the community is down here. This is the existing Amtrak station out there. And when we put in high-speed rail, this is what we are going to plan for high-speed rail to come here. So the structure is going to span right here, and this is where that closure is going to happen. This is a picture of 15.5 to give you a sense of what we were able to accomplish at 15.5. We have already constructed several grade separations in the county. Right? We have done Avenue 12. We did both high-speed rail and we did the BNSF, so that got eliminated. 15.5. We are working on Avenue 17. We are done with Road 27, and then we'll be done with Road 26. What that does is, at least in the limits of our alignment, we have eliminated almost every grade separation there is from the railroad. And then thereby, we made sure that in doing so, it is a safer ride for the residents of the area. Travel times will be greatly improved. Response times for emergency services will be greatly improved. We're also trying to do multimodal safety features. We overall in the community, we're going to install about 2,800 linear feet of sidewalks also in the area. So this is basically what the plan, there's not very much options on how we can manage traffic, because you have Road 27 and you have Road 26, and then we have 17 and 21. And so when we close 26, we'll do what we did, but in the opposite direction on Road 27. So Road 27, the good thing is now we don't have this at-grade railroad crossing over here. So we're going to have, this is going to be the route around the closure. The trucks, we're going to sign this thing for trucks on Road 27, to take Road 27 all the way to 21 and go, so they don't come around. And for local traffic, they're going to use Club Drive. And to mitigate the impacts, we already have a temporary signal over here, and we partnered with the County of Madera to fund a permanent signal there ultimately. So we already have an agreement in place, and we are funding partner to put that signal in there. We're going to keep this temporary signal over here. We're going to add a temporary signal at Road 27 to channel to manage that intersection. And then we're also going to put a signal down here on 17 and 27. So that, all of these turning movements that are there are managed. You don't have people just driving crazy and not following, with generally stop signs. So what we are trying to do, based on our last meeting, we got additional feedback. So we're actually right now in the process of trying to evaluate if there's some additional improvements we can make to the turning movement, especially on Road 27 coming into Berenda right now, because there were some comments that this could back up. So we're trying to figure out how we can do that. We will work with CHP and local law enforcement to make sure that there are a presence out there to make sure that once we go live, this thing works. The other thing we commit to doing is once we implement this new pattern, we will monitor it, we'll evaluate it, we'll see if it's working, and then if we need to make some changes, we will do that too. The schedule right now, we said we'll wait, and so we had actually planned to close this week on Monday, but we are pushing that back, and based on our meeting on Thursday, we are pushing it back even another week. So we are probably going to implement this closure probably by the end of the month. You will probably see some signs starting to show up over there to say road's going to be closed, and then we'll see the temporary signals go in. We want to install the temporary signals and turn them on live before we actually start having to close the street. So I want to be as available, and I want my team to be as available to get input and receive information and see what we can do and how we can be better stewards of ensuring that we are addressing the needs of all the residents over here. So we are going to be available. Here, some of the contact information for my staff that work over there is in the package itself that you can contact. You can definitely contact me. You can contact Tony or my office. We'll be happy to come out and see how we can resolve these issues. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Trustee Diber, do you have any questions for him?
Not at this time, thank you.
Trustee Ahmad?
I wanted to know regarding about the station, the existing station is not going to be the station, is going to be on Avenue 12 or 13?
So the plan for the San Joaquin Joint Powers, they are the ones that run Amtrak. They are working with CalSTAR, that's the Department of Transportation agency, to move the Amtrak station from that location to a location somewhere between Avenue 12 and Avenue 13 along our alignment. So there'll be a temporary station that they'll work on that will be on the existing BNSF tracks, but then they'll have an option to flip over and then connect to our track. So it'll be a high-speed rail station stop too. Thank you.
Trustee Cortez?
No questions.
Trustee Seibert?
Yeah, I was wondering what, talking to a guy that works with, high-speed rail. And at the Tulare Lake, that thing flooded. That whole line was like 15 feet underwater. What mitigations have you guys planned for over there?
So Tulare Lake, our alignment does cross a section, just cuts a very small section of Tulare Lake. It did not flood 15 feet. The only alignment that was above water was our alignment. And so some of the dairies, we actually partnered with some of the dairies over there, and people were evacuated using our alignment because our alignment sits higher than the normal surroundings. So while we are going to be in a section of that, we did not get as severely impacted as some of the other communities got impacted, and we were still above water, and we'll continue to be above water.
I was told one of the overpasses there, the water is up to the bottom of the overpass.
It may have been some other structure, not ours.
Clerk Mendoza, do you have questions?
No questions.
I do. So my concern is safety for our students at Berinda especially. Besides Berinda, we have 3 other schools that the parents go on 27. And so they're going to be, anybody coming down 26 will be routed 27. I see we're going to put a temporary light at 17 and 27. I see the date is tomorrow, the 13th.
That date was, when we made this presentation, we were planning to implement the closure next week. So we have taken, there were some concerns with, protective left turns that we're trying to see if we can implement. And if we can implement that date is going to be pushed back. The commitment I'm making is that we are going to be 100% ready. And so if there's something that we can do that is different than what we had planned, we'll make sure that we can do that and do so. The 13th is, I don't believe that 13th date is accurate right now because we have moved our closure back another week.
Okay, so I appreciate it greatly, and I'm sure the committee will, that those lights get in position before you close or the day you close. Because as it is right now, without any closure, coming out of 17, pulling out of 17 to go on 27 East is a difficulty already. And now with rerouting traffic out that way is going to make it even more difficult. And then at Berinda, we have no sidewalks or anything on the northeast side. And so as it is, it's already congested with the kids dropping off. I don't know how soon our drop off is going to be for our students. Superintendent Sandin, we make sure we move that up or whatever for our drop off for our buses, because that's going to be rerouted to Road 27 to take some congestion off of Club Drive. And our safety thing is the community at Club area, Berinda, those parents are 99% working parents. And so they're going to either have to pull out, go out to Road 21. And then what's more difficult added to all those parents is that they go drop off the grammar school kids, they come back for their high school kid and go back out to Torres. And Torres is congested on Road 26 on the south side of 17. So I didn't get any notification of any of these town hall meetings at Berinda, unfortunately, to address some of my main concern. But my main concern is our safety for Berinda kids. And then the parents that are be going south on 27 to go take them to Pershing and James Monroe. And then, but mostly Nishimoto, Desmond, all that community, those parents, a lot of those parents drop off their kids because most of those parents are working parents, so they have to drop off their kids before they head out to work.
Appreciate your comments and we are concerned also about the safety aspects in there. So that's why we have, I understand that this is a county road and people drive higher speeds.
27, yes.
27. So we did have that conversation at the meeting. So what we are going to probably do, we're going to put some advanced warning signs that slows people down. We're going to put maybe some, when you drive on the freeway, you see your speed coming up. So we'll put something like that to alert people, and then the signal will help people slow down a little bit, and it'll all be monitored. I mean, channelized via signal as opposed to everybody trying to make the turn as fast or brake as you come to a stop sign. Sometimes it's not protected. So that's what we are trying to do, and we not only recognize that 27, but we do also recognize that 17 that is going to be also an intersection that we'll need to closely monitor. So I am hopeful that we have actually looked at all this and the stuff we have done in place will work. But if it does not work and we need to change and do something different, we are open to coming back, modifying whatever we need to do to make sure that it is safe. That is our number one priority. We don't want anybody to get hurt at all while we implement our project. Now, is it going to be inconvenient? Sure. Do we need to make sure that all of the parents know that it's going to be a little bit congested because you don't have that? Sure. I think the message that I want to convey and I'm asking you to convey to everybody you talk to is recognize that it's a construction zone. You have a closure, and maybe keep some additional time for drop off and picking up your kids.
How long do you project that closure to be?
So right now, we are projecting this to go until the end of 2025, but I am working with my team to make sure that we can pull that back as much as possible. So I think we'll be able to beat that by about 4 months right now. Don't hold me to that, but that's what we are working on in doing that. Some of the constraints we have is weather. If we get cooperative weather, we can get done earlier. We have to work with the railroad. Railroad has a moratorium period that we cannot work at all over the railroad for 2.5 months in November and December. So those are some of the constraints that we have, and some of our environmental laws require us to do certain things that are different. But apart from that, I think once we start, we have a clear path to go. And this is not going to be anything like we did on Road 27. Road 27 should never have happened. And I apologize for everybody that had to endure Road 27. Road 26 is going to be completely different, I promise you.
Thank you.
Question. Is there a possibility on Avenue 19?
No.
That they could complete that Road 19, have temporary pass over the railroad?
Yes, just east of Club Drive.
Somewhere over here.
It's right there where the lights at, almost at the end of the light.
Top of your stop sign. up
Love
to
it
the
right
upper-
there, right there, that's 19, right there will be
Right there.
19. Yeah.
Oh, on the other side?
Mhm.
Well,
But
it's a
the,
little bit north Club Drive.
but you have to cross the railroad track still there.
Yeah. So you
Yes,
can do
I don't
temporary
believe
crossing
there's-
on the railroad tracks.
Yeah, I don't believe there's a crossing of the railroad tracks on 19.
No, there's not one there now.
No, and I don't believe we are proposing one either. We are going to, let me see.
That would help a lot of that traffic that goes into that school.
So you see over here, so when we come, we are going to realign this street. This is what's existing right there. We're just going to realign this to mimic whatever we have right here in the existing. So we're not proposing to go across 19 with the structure. Was that?
Oh, wow.
That's-
Exit right there.
Yes, yeah.
Light there.
So there's going to be an exit, there's going to be a light, and we have already, I believe before we close this, there'll be this connection to Amtrak already in place, and there'll be this driveway already to this private property in place before we close that. And you'll be able to come out to Club Drive and get on Road 26.
Yeah, but that's in the future, but not right now.
Yes,
So
once
they
we're
would
done with
have-
the structure.
They will have to hit east on get 21, which 21 is not a straight road. It's kind of curves around. And it's not a good road either for that, to take over that amount of traffic. 21. That's
21,
over- That's the northeast side.
not on the
Yeah,
north.
right there, you're turning right. People are gonna take 21, which is not made to take over traffic because it's not a good road.
You mean in the after condition?
I mean, and parents trying to choose another route to get to their destination.
Mhm. To
You know,
go
to
north
get
and
out
take
of the
21,
area.
right?
To try to avoid going down 27
Mhm.
because everybody's been going down 27. And other parents are gonna be either, I would suggest go 27. I mean, if they have kids that are dropping off at Berinda, drop them off at Berinda and hit 27 east and then get 21 to 99 and you avoid 27, but some parents have to go to Taurus and all those other schools, the middle schools. Because Berinda feeders into the middle school of Desmond, they have to drop off kids at Desmond and Taurus.
And that is south of 17.
That is south of 17, yes. So they shoot out to go drop off their kid at Berinda, which is already congested enough at this current date.
So this is what we show is going to be detour for all of the truck traffic and the major traffic. That's our signs that we're going to.
Plus, you're gonna have your trucks on the same road.
Uh, we will need to haul in certain short periods of time, yes. And while we want to make sure that they're using this Avenue 21 and 17 to come in there, we worked with the county to only be on certain routes to haul. We're not going to be all around the neighborhoods.
Yeah, but I know you're working with the county, but the county's not telling you that area is already congested. And then with the trucks going on the same road, these parents are trying to get to their destinations. That it's gonna make it even a bigger headache. And the county's not taking that in consideration. The school districts have to take it in consideration because we're gonna have a lot of kids, maybe the first week or so, they're gonna be late to these various schools.
So what we can do is that through our construction management, work with our contractor to make sure that the peak hours in the morning of 7:30 to 8 or whatever, and then the 2:30 to 3:30, we don't haul in those times. We'll do something with our contractors.
Trying
our
to do it around the
contract
scheduling.
management, right,
Yeah.
to see how we can schedule. And our hauling operations are limited when we start getting majority amount of dirt in there to build the embankments up, but otherwise it's going to be pretty minimal.
Okay.
Right there, it'll help with turning on the D Street, turning off the street. High school and Desmond and.
I know it sounds good, but then you're gonna have a light on 17, a light on D Street, and a light on 27 for a parent trying to get to school. And a light on Berinda. Yeah, I don't slow traffic down, but I'm just saying, us as a school district, we're gonna have to take consideration. Those kids in that area might be late the first couple of days because trying to adjust to those lights and the congestion and try to mentally plan a strategy of getting out every day.
I was. Yeah, you woke me up. Mr. Fernandez, thank you so much for the presentation. I know you covered a lot since we last met, What I was gonna say is that you did bring up a good point, that to regulate the driving trucks off the hours of the school during the transportation, students in and out. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if you need the schedules ahead of time that might help you facilitate the.
No, that's fine. We are in contact with the schools. I have a meeting with the principal of the elementary coming up. I believe we're trying to set up a meeting either this week or next week. And then we also work with the director of transportation. So we are plugged in. We'll get the schedules and we'll see how, the school schedules, the busing schedules, to make sure that we are coordinating with everybody to make sure it is as seamless as we can make it.
Yeah, and then, there might also be some events taking place or something.
Yes, sure.
So sometimes you'll have more volume of traffic.
I'll give you an example. My office is directly across from Chukchansi Park. And while we do in the city of Fresno that when Chukchansi Park has an event, right? We don't get to shut down stuff or we don't have to do operations. So that similar things, we can definitely work around those schedules or events that you have.
Okay, thank you so much.
And our bus loading zone is open. It is being used now. So
That sounds good.
that addition was made to increase some safety. Yeah.
Trustee Seibert, you got your light on. No more questions, trustees? Thank you, Mr. Fernandez.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me over here.
Okay, now we move on to union time. At this time, I invite the presidents of the unions to address the board, but Mr. Holder?
For President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, Board Member, Superintendent Lyle. I'll just be brief. I want to thank all the board members that attended the school board dinner last week. I hope you all had a good time and we appreciate your attendance. And I hope I put a good show on at the table for you but it was. we
Without
had
the
a-
jokes, he's a comedian.
Well, that said, it was much appreciated and CTA Service Center and Chairman Martinez and Area Director Reese appreciated all of your attendance and meeting you. I think they've met some of you before. Again, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Holder. Any other union presidents?
None at this time.
Thank you. We did superintendent's time. New business. On to item number 12A1, Educational Services, present and discuss the proposed ethnic studies new course submissions for 2024-2025 school year. Superintendent Lyle.
So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, we put a lot of time and energy into this, and there's some staff here that can witness that very fact. Ms. Sissel is here to present this item to you, and we're really proud of where this is going because we really do see the long-term benefit in having students really understand the roots of their heritage and the contributions of their neighbors. I think this is a really fantastic opportunity for Madera Unified to get really healthy in ways it hasn't been up to now. So Ms. Sissel, floor is yours.
I have a lot up here. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, members of the public. So tonight is the first read and review of the ethnic studies course proposal. I know many of you have done lots of course proposals over the course of your tenure on the board, and this is a little bit different. And we felt like we should address this in a single item because of there was some requests from trustees to have some discussion in the public session. And so tonight, I have a short presentation, and it's mostly for kind of reminders of what we've done, what we've discussed, starting all the way back in 2021. Before I get going, though, I want to make sure, so anything that I'm referencing tonight is the information that was provided to each of you back in November or December before our meeting. So anything that's referenced in the presentation comes from the model curriculum that was presented to you, as well as some of the supplemental documents. So there's no new information tonight. Anything that I reference is coming to you directly from the information that was shared back in December. All right. Do you want me to have the clicker or? That might be easier. Thank you. So I wanted to start with just maybe the historic background or the legislative information for anybody who might not recall. So the Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum was adopted by the California State Board of Education in March of 2021. Within the model curriculum, it calls out a focus on 4 foundational disciplines. The 4 foundational disciplines are African American, Asian American, Pacific Islander, Latino, Latina, Latinx, Chicana, Chicano, Chicanx. Was learning how to say that a little bit earlier today, as well as the Native American studies. Also, you might recall in December of 2021, I brought forward the Educator Effectiveness Block Grant. And that was a grant that was to begin in 2021 and it closes in 2026. And we had to approve it before December of 2021. So that's when the grant was approved. And during that time, we talked about, there was like 9 different initiatives that the district could prioritize utilizing those funds. And the priorities that came out of that was our work towards with English learners, as well as our progress on developing a ethnic studies course. So that was approved by the board back on in December of 2021. And then this does become a graduation requirement. So this course is required by Ed Code to be every graduating senior in the class of 2030, but it's the school year of 2029, 2030 must complete an ethnic studies course. And it must be offered the first time as part of a course of study in the fall of 25, 26 or the 25, 26 school year. So right at the beginning of the model curriculum, it kind of goes through some of the guidance. And I just wanted to quickly review the guidance from the State Board of Education. And they give us 5 pieces of guidance. And I put at the top, it's page 4 through 6. So there's like paragraphs that are attached to each of these between now and the second read. If you look through that and you have questions, I'd be happy to answer any specifics. But the State Board of Education guidelines are this. Number 1, they give us the statutory requirements. So again, that's the legality behind what the State Board of Education expects. And that is that the course must be offered and it must be implemented, and graduating seniors of the class 2930 must take it. It must reflect 9 general principles outlined in the ethnic studies model curriculum. I cannot name those 9 off the top of my head. I'm sure the folks behind me who've been working on this course for 18 months can, but I like to use an analogy that if you were to imagine putting on a pair of glasses, that what you see, what we view through, every decision that they made, all of the different units, they would keep those 9 general principles in their back of their minds as they're developing this curriculum. It must follow a course outline. So that might seem kind of silly, but the State Board of Ed says you must adopt a course. That's what we're doing tonight, the first part of that. It must be sensitive to an audience. So for us, as you all know, because you made the recommendation for it to be in 9th grade, we have to be sensitive to the fact that we're going to recommend to teach this as a 9th grade course. It must validate students' lived experiences and be inclusive. So that audience piece is really calling out that we need to be sensitive to who we're going to be teaching this course to. And then lastly is administrative and teacher support. So the State Board of Ed expects that administrators and teachers alike get support from the Board of Trustees and district administration to implement this course. So there are 8 outcomes that the ethnic studies model curriculum calls out. And I would remind you that when we met, we talked about, we took the 8 outcomes of ethnic studies, which are pursuit of justice and equity, working toward greater inclusivity, furthering self-understanding, developing a better understanding of others, recognizing intersectionality, promoting self-empowerment for civic engagement, supporting a community focus, and developing interpersonal communication. So we took those 8 outcomes and we aligned them to our student believer compact, to our community compact, to our graduate profile, and to the principles in the EL master plan. And I feel like I'm forgetting one, student champion document. So there were 5 documents that the team reviewed and went through and looked at those 8 outcomes and sort of aligned how they fit within each of those. And that document was part of your original packet, and it was called the Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum with Highlights. So if you go back in your original packet, it's like about a 12 to 15 page document that we provided so that you can see that. If you want to see a more detailed description of those outcomes, again, it's on page 16 and 20 of your actual model curriculum that was provided for you. So next, I would like to take you through the recommendation of the implementation. So the curriculum and the adoption of the curriculum, it provides some crucial points that it says districts should follow when implementing this curriculum. So number one is to ensure that the district and site leadership support the development of the course. So tonight, I would like to introduce that team to you who's been working on this since, that's probably been about 18 months. They started a year ago in the fall. So when we started this work, Director Selma Gonzalez was on board. She's no longer with us. And in her absence, the coordinator for secondary curriculum instruction and current interim secondary director, Maria Lorenzo, has been leading and supporting this team. So Maria is here tonight. Wave your hand so the board can see who you are. Okay. And then we've had a teacher team that was, we kind of put out our feelers to see who might be interested in working on this project. We believed in gathering a coalition of the willing. That's one of the things that you hear throughout is make sure that you get people who are really interested and invested in this work, which we did. So tonight, we don't have all of our team. We're missing two, but we have Ms. McKendra McCoy, who is our teacher specialist working with ethnic studies. There's McKendra. And we have John Bianco, who's also a teacher specialist who oversees our US or history social science. And then Matthew Gerking, who is with us this evening, teacher at MLK. Ruby Melchor, Ruby, there she is, Torres High School. And Crystal Dunn, Madera High School. And also I want to give credit to Raquel Avila and Jamie Garcia, who were part of this team, but they were unable to be here tonight. And so I really want to just publicly thank them for this work. Again, I think when I brought this forward to you all, we don't normally take 18 months to develop a course. We don't usually have a team and a person on special assignment to lead this work, but understanding how important this work is, we wanted to make sure that we did everything as right as we could possibly do. And they have really been passionate about this work and really put a lot of their own time and energy into the development of this course. The next important piece of guidance is to ensure the alignment of the district course to state and local policy. So a definition of ethnic studies is the interdisciplinary study of race, ethnicity, and indigeneity, with an emphasis on the experience of people of color in the US. So as a district, we are following the state and local policy expectations. For us, it's more around the State Board of Education and their expectations. And we're a little ahead of the game, to be real honest with you. And I will share in a little bit, kind of being seen as a leader, especially in our community around this work. Number three is consider the local history, demographics, and particular needs of the district. So I've listed a few things here that we've done up to this point. Again, I appreciate the time that each trustee took to meet with me between the months of December and January and to provide us feedback. We've also met with a number of local leaders from our local AME chapter, our local NAACP chapter. We've met with the Mono, Yokut, and Chukchansi tribe. Also had feedback from the Madera Coalition for Community Justice. Worked with an organization from Fresno called ELF. It's the Educational Leadership Foundation. And that's just to name a few. One of the other pieces that I wanted to call out here, and it does call it out in the curriculum, but I want you all to know that we will be including study and information on the Oaxaqueño population, because as many of you know, Madera County has one of the largest Oaxaqueño populations of anywhere in the United States outside of the state of Oaxaqueño or Oaxaca in Mexico. So we will be including that in one of our units of study. And then this was actually a recommendation from trustees. I think it came from my meeting with President Salazar. And we talked about the importance of local heroes and making sure that the kids here in Madera have an opportunity to learn about the local heroes that are relevant to each of the four disciplines that we're going to be studying. So that is work in progress. You guys gave us that feedback in December and January. Ms. McCoy and the team have been working on building that piece into it. And I think we're all really excited about the opportunity for kids to make that local connection. Next is developing clear funding for the program and teacher training and professional learning opportunities. We've done that. Right now it's grant funded, but it's already written in as part of what will be our future LCAP. And we've been providing training opportunities and professional learning for the teachers that are behind me and even some other teachers. Next is being grounded and well-versed in the purpose and impact of ethnic studies. So again, I just wanted to highlight a few things. We've hired a teacher specialist to support the development of the ethnic studies course. We piloted the ethnic studies course. We're piloting actually right now, one section at Madera South and one section at Torres High School. We held multiple parent and engaged educational partner meetings starting all the way back in the fall of 2022. So about 18 months worth of meetings where we've invited community members, parents, students. One of the things that they were extremely proud of that the team committed to was doing student listening sessions. So last year, we did, I think there was like 960 surveys and that were completed, talking to kids about what they wanted to see in this class, what they felt like was missing. And so there was student listening sessions, also parent surveys, and that's how the decision was made this year for the Chicano Latinx section or semester course to be taught, because that was probably not too much of a surprise to find out that that had the greatest interest from our student population. So we piloted the foundational piece of ethnic studies in semester one, and now we are piloting the Latinx, Chicanx studies course. And then to conclude the first semester, Ms. McCoy held 2 ethnic studies showcases, one at Madera South and one at Torres. I know Trustee Fleek attended, I can't remember, both of them or just one of them. And then we had some members from AME that attended as well. And a couple of the representatives from the ELF organization also attended those showcases and got to listen to students share their experience in the first semester, as well as ask some questions and give some feedback. The next component is around ensuring students receive appropriate and non-discriminatory instruction and materials. So again, that really calls out that we're following the core curriculum. So we've developed a semester-long ethnic studies course with the specialty corresponding course, which is also a semester length. So when you look in your board packet, what we provided to you was the actual courses. So it's ethnic studies with Latino or Latinx and Chicanx, or it's ethnic studies with African American, it's ethnic studies with Asian American and Pacific Islander, or ethnic studies and Native American. So it's the ethnic studies with one of the 4 disciplines. So you see a total of 4 courses being represented tonight as a first read. Number 7 is ensure fair, balanced, and humanizing pedagogy. So we have really been focusing on the professional learning aspect for our interested teachers in receiving the ethnic studies certification. I think I shared this in the meetings, but San Francisco State University is one of the only universities that has started to really look at developing teachers for teaching ethnic studies. If you recall from our previous conversations, to teach ethnic studies currently, CTC, or the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, says you have to have an English Language Arts credential or a History Social Science credential. Well, most of the people behind me have one or both of those, but they will tell you that after going through the San Francisco State University certification program, that experience really would be optimal in preparing students for teaching this, preparing teachers for teaching this. So we have put through, I think we've got our second cohort, but we are paying for that. So we are providing teachers the support to receive that certification. We're hoping, obviously, that CTC will develop a credential that will make it a whole lot easier for us. But as of right now, San Francisco State University is providing that certification. We also brought in an organization called CHITO, which is the Chicanx Institute of Teaching and Organizing, and they really focus on culturally responsive pedagogy and how to support teachers in the classroom. So we actually put all of our district academic coaches in elementary, in secondary, in arts education, in our teacher support program through that training. I've heard from a number of them that it was one of the most beneficial trainings they've went through, really because the importance of the culturally responsive pedagogy. And it didn't only teach them about that, but it taught them how to support teachers in developing that. So we are continuing that work and always looking at opportunities to provide that professional learning for our staff. The last three are around teachers who are willing and committed to invest in developing an ethnic studies curriculum. I know this came up in a couple of my trustee conversations. You know, the course is coming, the state, it's law now. I believe in my heart, and I shared with everybody that we're going to be just fine, but it's going to be really important to get the right people in the classrooms teaching this, who teach and that we know will teach to the fidelity of the curriculum, because the curriculum exists. We didn't have to write the curriculum. We had to take the curriculum and make it our own. So really focusing on teachers who are willing and committed to teaching ethnic studies is going to be a big part of the work that we're going to be faced with when we implement this fully at our school sites. Number 9 is develop, implement, monitor, and evaluate instructional support. So again, continuing the professional development for teachers who are willing to teach ethnic studies. That district support is going to come through our secondary CIA team and down at the school site level. We believe that our early implementation of the courses is allowing us for our teachers to become more well-versed. It is providing more opportunities for teacher training and professional learning. As a little side note, we have learned that we're one of the only local school districts that's already implementing a pilot. And I would give a lot of kudos to the team behind me. The Madera County Superintendent of Schools has a collaborative that's working with all the schools in Madera County, and they've all asked for our materials, how we introduced it to the community, how we engage the community. So this team back here, they're sort of leading the way and helping with at least Madera County schools. Lastly is the consultation piece. So again, we are part of the collaborative for Madera County Superintendent of Schools. As far as consulting other districts, Ms. McCoy was able to attend some of Fresno Unified's professional development on ethnic studies. We've also worked with UC Merced, and then Dr. Crystal Menezes, which is, she's from Emancipated, which she came to us by way of a historically Black college or university. She's an educator from an HBCU, and she has met with our team to talk about primarily the African American and Black students in that course that's going to be taught. And then again, local community and organizations, it actually says you have to meet with them and you have to meet with tribal organizations. We were doing that anyways, but we're meeting those requirements as well, and we'll continue to do that. Next is, I think at the request of a couple of the trustees said, hey, because we weren't in the room when everybody met with myself, can we hear kind of the main ideas or the takeaways from the trustee comments? So I've tried to kind of put those together. One of the recommendations was that the course be taught in ninth grade. At that time, you might remember me saying, sounds awesome as long as we can get that vote for the 7-period day, which we did. So we should have no problem making this work in a ninth grade classroom on a 7-period day. So that is our plan, is to introduce this and take this forward as a ninth grade course. There was some concern around the language that is used, and the ask was, please make sure that the team uses language that is not to be inciting or provoking separation or divisiveness. So really paying attention to the vocabulary that we use. There was a request to ensure that we exhaust all resources to ensure that parents and community members are able to provide feedback and share comments regarding the course. Again, there's been like parent squares that have gone out to every parent of a student in high school. We've done listening sessions with students. We've held multiple community meetings where we've invited parents. We had meetings with the parents who their kids were the first students that participated in these courses. You know, we always wish we could get more feedback. If I'm being completely honest, we don't always get the most feedback, but I do have a little, Coordinator Lorenzo did share with me a little document, which unfortunately I didn't get to you. I'll add it to the board newsletter, but it has a number of the comments that parents shared. And I apologize for not getting that in there tonight. But like I said, I will work with Superintendent Lyle and I'll get that added into your weekly newsletter. So you have that. Again, the local heroes piece, we are currently working on that. So if you dove in and reviewed the course outlines, you didn't see that piece in there because when that was submitted, we have not revised the actual course outline yet. They're in the process of adding that local hero piece to each of the units. And then I think I heard from a number of trustees, can we please just make sure that they teach the curriculum and that our site leaders are ensuring that we don't have teachers who go off and teach what they want to teach, but that they teach what's outlined in the curriculum. And, I said then, and I'll say again, we definitely will prioritize that and do our dead level best to ensure that. And then ensure that the district provides adequate support to the teachers who will be teaching the ethnic studies course, which again, we don't intend to not provide support. We will continue to utilize the same model that we currently do, which is with district academic support, and continue to do that. Then our last slide for tonight is sort of the next steps. So between tonight and the first board meeting in April, I would welcome any conversation, any feedback. I know we've met. I've been able to meet with each of you, but if there was something that is on your mind that you would like to be addressed, I'm happy to take that feedback either tonight or in between now and then, but we plan to bring this to the first meeting in April for a approval. And the reason we're doing that and kind of on a timeline is because number 2, we need to submit this course for A to G approval, which means that our students that take this course will get CSU or UC elective credit. And Ms. McKenna let me know that the drop dead date is June 1st. So as long as we get it in by June 1st, then you have an opportunity to revise because what will happen is we'll submit it, then somebody from the state will look at it and they'll either say, yes, good, no, not good, make revisions. And so if you get it in by June 1st, you can still have a revision period and get it back so that we'll have the approval when we start the school year. High school master schedule, we're working on this as we speak. In fact, our 3 comprehensives are pretty well close to being done with this. So it is the intent that we will have at least one section of this at all 3 high schools next year. As you remember, this year Madera High School didn't have a pilot section. So next year, all 3 high schools will. And then and this is our world, so I don't want to assume that you guys know this, but we constantly are reviewing and revising curriculum. So for this course, now that it's been, the ethnic studies portion was taught in the first semester, and now we're in the middle of teaching the Chicano and Latinx, or Chicanx and Latinx section. They'll continue to revise that. Also looking at like the summative assessments, looking at key assignments, and then again, the heroes contribution piece. And that is all I have for you tonight.
Thank you. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? Trustee Dybert?
Yes, President Salazar. Thank you very much for that presentation. So just want to confirm, so the official, I guess, courses, will start in 24-20 for the 24-25 school year? Because right now we have 2 pilot classes, right? Is that what you said?
And we're piloting one more year next year.
Oh, okay, so it would be piloting and then full implementation 25-26.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I was, I read some of the everything and we went over all the comments that you made. My question to you is that you're going to focus on 4 fundamental disciplines: the African American, because we do have African American students, Latinx, Native Americans. Why are we focusing on the Pacific Islanders? I understand that you tailor your ethnic studies based on your community, what you made up, your students. We have majority, Latino students, we have African American, Native Americans. And why, I know this is what the state, offers, but I went to a CSBA, the conference, I went to one breakout session. There was a student, a teacher who presented his curriculum. And in that workout session, they said that you don't have to, the guide is there, your curriculum is there from the state, but you can tailor it to your community. And he did a nice presentation. So I'm wondering, do we have to stick, I don't know how many students we have of Pacific Islanders here, but we do have quite a few of Punjabi, Indian, Japanese, Chinese minority students. So I'm just wondering, how that part of our community is going to be represented in an ethnic study?
So actually, I can give you the exact numbers we have of Asian American students, which is less than 200. South Pacific is, I think, 5, but the Asian American is put together with that. Now, what I can tell you is, as I showed like on the first slide, we followed the curriculum. The course, though, will only be offered so student interest will play a part in this. So in Madera, like I mentioned, there's a really good chance that we're always going to offer the Latinx and Chicanx. We will only offer the specialty course based on student request. But the Asian American, and McKendra, you can help me with this. Where's my geography lesson? I've forgotten, Horacio. You want to help?
We tailored our Latino studies specifically to our population, and then we've included the Asian American Pacific Islander because they've had a huge contribution. And to be honest, here in Madera, we have a large Chinese population as well.
Yes.
Our history, right? We have the Chinese cemetery is just out
Avenue 12.
Thank you. Yeah. So
Mhm.
we have a lot of important parts. Well,
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to eliminate that part because we have the Nishimoto family, we have Chinese people, we had, I can't remember the name of that restaurant, famous restaurant when I first came to Madeira.
So that would be part of the Asian American piece. So they're
Right.
together.
Okay, so then the people from India and the people from Pakistan, because we do, I mean, I know them, and there has been, and Superintendent Lyle's been a request for the Punjabi studies, and people that really want to bring their culture up like everybody else that, you have a heritage. So, okay, I'm glad to hear that they're going to be included. It's just kind of hard to identify when you see that. So is that something that the community knows when you have these parents or the community meetings that
Well, yeah,
they are
we
included in
represented
there?
with their food, we represented with their, like, we did like cultural exchanges where we brought in culturally relevant materials, readings. We did like food exchanges, we did all
So
types of.
we have purposely seek the input from that community, that small community that we
Yes.
have. Okay, that's good.
And
How
when
about,
and when students are selecting their course tallies, there should be a small description, shouldn't be a real large one, but a small description of what they're selecting. So if some of the terminology maybe throws off a student, there will be a description there. So when
We can make sure that we add like under the description, so students know under Asian American and South Pacific that you're going to get the Middle Eastern Asian component as
yeah,
well.
because to the naked eye, like me, I didn't know. I went and I tried to find out what group was included there, and it wasn't really. It was all like Samoans and Hawaii.
That's
It
in
was
the
in
core materials. We tailored it more towards
Right.
our populations.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's good. So where and I know you said that the parents where you have meetings, and then how about the students, feedback from students? Did you meet
Yeah,
with
963 student responses. Yeah,
Okay.
We did sessions last year. That's how, maybe I talked too fast. I thought I said that. I apologize. So I shared that there was like 963 student responses, and that's how they decided this year to pilot the Latino, Latinx, Chicano, Chicanx course, because when they talked to students, that was where the greatest student interest was for the pilot class. And then also they had an opportunity to share, as well as parents, what they wanted to see in the course. So like we have all these students, that's why I said, I will put it in the update. Like I have these little, I do have information to share with you, but I'm not going to share 963 responses, but I can share with you some of the parent and student information. But that was, they each went to school sites and conducted listening sessions and sat with kids and talked about what they wanted to hear and what they wanted to see in that course. And also did that with parents, and information went out to Parent Square. Again, we don't always get the greatest response back from parents. She met with all the parents of the kids who are in the class this year. So yeah, we have extended our communications to include both students and parents. And like, again, I think 963 responses was the student responses that we got back.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's probably fair to characterize the student's response to the question of, do you want ethnic studies, to yes, please. They want these classes, they want to know. And what I know I have heard out in the
It
community
was
from
839 student responses. I actually have it written down right here.
what I've heard, Trustee Dybert, from a lot of parents that are, right around my age, former classmates, they got to take these classes at Fresno City College, Fresno State, or wherever. And they all had a very similar reaction to the reaction I think that a lot of us had when we took the classes. Like, this would have been really good to learn in 9th grade. This would have been really great to learn in 7th grade. It's almost too, I mean, it feels good to know and be enlightened, right? When we learn it at the university level, but that means you have to get to the university level. And so I think kids are really anxious to learn about themselves, their neighbors, their community. They want to know that, California was built by, Chinese and Japanese. There's not a ton of those descendants always in our midst. So that story, if we don't tell it, doesn't get told real well, and kids are fascinated by that.
And when we talk
Really
to
fun.
students, we ask them like, what do you wish you saw in your classes? What would you like? So those were the types of questions that were asked to students.
I have a few, but President Salazar, I'm going to let the other trustees have an opportunity to ask questions or monopolize all the questions. I'll wait for the other trustees.
Okay. Trustee Cortez, do you have any questions for the staff?
Yeah, just a comment regarding the ethnic studies model curriculum. I believe this is what we are adopting. Is this correct, right? Ms. Maria?
No, that's how the curriculum aligns to the believer documents. What you're adopting is, you had the courses, so you actually had like the
Right,
ethnic
all the
studies.
handouts right here, right? All these.
I can't see what you're holding up.
There's a bunch of them.
That's part of it. You've got, those are the actual units of study. What you have in your packet is like the highlights and the units. We don't usually submit to the board like the same document that we would submit to the UC. So we don't, so what you have is in your board packet, it shows you each course and the units of study that would be taught in each course. And I think there's 8 to 10 units that make up each of the 4 courses.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, I mean, just one of my concerns that I shared with you is this idea of being victimized. I'm not a huge fan of that. So just some of the language that I saw in there kind of alluded to that. And so I was really uncomfortable, in teaching that to our kids, and my kids are included. And so I would, have some reservations about that. But also, let's see. I mean, some of the language, I know you went over that information with me, so I do appreciate you going over that with me. I also had another question. What is how are the pilot programs? How are those, how effective or how well are those being implemented? And what's,
Well, the person who's teaching the class is sitting right behind me, and she's led all this work. So I would say they're being implemented pretty well. She's following the course of study. She's the most well-versed in it, as she's the one who's led and facilitated the work. We've had the principals who have observed the class. We've had coordinator here who's observed the class. Her partners here have observed her teach. Again, we've had the showcases, but she's teaching the course the way it's been written and the way it's being presented to you, with the exception of, we have to add in the heroes component, because that was something that is a little bit new. We didn't have that written in that way into the course.
And so, we attended the Parsec conference a few weeks ago. And so I feel bad because one of our students there at South Campus shared that, one of her frustrations, and it seemed like maybe one of the frustrations of the student panel there, was that, we keep focusing on the past instead of, focusing on the future. And so that's, again, where I'm coming from with some of the language that I observed, that, it just makes me nervous that, some of the teachers and instructors may be.
Actually, I think this course gives us an opportunity to write the messaging. I think this course is set to address the messaging. What she was addressing, because I was there, was what she's heard in her US history class or her world history class or her English language arts class. So this will hopefully be an opportunity for students to feel validated and not feel like they're being victimized or being held to the circumstances of their past.
Thank you.
Trustee Seibert?
Yes, if you have a class and you say you've got a lot of Hispanic kids, you're teaching Hispanic, but you've got some other, like some Russian kids in there. How are they going to feel if nobody talks about their history? So I think you have to be sensitive when you're teaching these classes, who's in the classroom.
It's the whole basis of the course, Trustee Seibert. That's the whole first unit of ethnic studies, is knowing your identity and knowing who you are. Remember, they're not just going to learn about one ethnic group. They take a whole semester on the foundations of ethnic studies. And those courses are understanding who I am, understanding where I came from, understanding how other people see me and understand where I'm going.
So it's not just these 4 groups, it's who's ever in a classroom
First
and
semester
what
is-
their
So
background
if you
might
look at
be.
your, if you look in your board pack, you look at the course, the first semester is the foundations of ethnic studies. So it goes over 4 units around like self-identity, like who am I? And then who have other people seen me as, and how do other people see me? And then where am I going? Like where do I see myself going? And I'm forgetting unit number 4. I just said it and now I forgot it. But the whole first semester is on the foundations of ethnic studies. It's not focused on one ethnicity. It's when you get into the specialty course where there'll be more focused on the components and the riches and the cultural relevance and the backgrounds that come from those 4 areas.
That's what I'm talking about, is those 4 areas. If you got other kids in the classroom taking the class, they have a different background. And their background's never gonna get talked about or mentioned.
Well, I can only explain it in the way my daughter's at Fresno State right now, and she's white, and she's taking an Asian American class where she's learning about Asian American history. That's the same concept
Well,
is
I mean,
we're teaching
look,
about
when I grew up, we had a lot of Russian kids in my class. And we had a lot of Hispanics and maybe, Japanese. But so if you're in a classroom like that with a group, everybody wants to have their story shared.
Sure.
And who they are. And, because
That
we're
will
not
happen
Fresno
in the
State,
first,
we're not,
that
you
will
know, we're
happen in
not
the
a
first
university,
semester.
We're a community.
But that will happen in the first semester. That's what the entire first semester is about. It's,
Okay, I just want to make sure we recognize this community and everybody is in that classroom.
and I can also share who this community as a school community is. Again, it's 20,900 Hispanics. It's much less, there's 5 South Pacific, there's like 200 Asian Americans. There's, you start looking at the breakdown of who we are as a community. And I feel confident that we will represent the students who are represented in that classroom. But again, the way this course is set up and designed is that every child in the classroom is going to be validated for who they are, where they came from, where their family came from, what their beliefs are, what their backgrounds are. And then we're all going to learn how to appreciate that, love that, and embrace that in the classroom. So that's the whole foundation. It's why it's called the Foundations of Ethnic Studies. That's the whole foundations for the first semester of that course.
And then the second semester in that course, they're going to have some decisions they get to make about where they want it to go.
Yes.
So it's not as though they're going to get stuck in something. They're
Right.
going to get to choose something.
Yep.
And they're going to get to choose something they're interested to know about. And I think there's going to be a really high degree of interest in a lot of our students understanding the predominant groups of kids that are around them, because they may not. Right. And those same kids that are Mexican American students from Latin America, they're gonna have an opportunity to learn about things about themselves they would not know. And one of the things that I think has been revealed through a lot of the work on ethnic studies around the country is the vast majority of people who are 1 or 2 generations in this country, whose grandparents or parents immigrated, the vast majority of those families know about their family history to a degree. They don't really know all that much about, and they know a lot about customs and cultures, but they don't know a lot about history. And when we were down in Oaxaca, that became very evident. We heard that a lot from the students. Even the ones that lived in the region didn't often understand much about the ancient cultures that they actually lived in and amongst the ruins. And that's a really common challenge in the new world. When people have moved around, that there's just things that are in plain sight that are lost and are not known. And kids learn things about themselves and about their families. And one of the richest things that will happen is when kids go home and talk to their their families about what they learned about themselves in school. Parents will not have heard that before. And they're you're gonna hear that. Parents are gonna say, I can't believe my kid brought that home. I had never heard that before. I never knew that story in history before. And that's gonna be really powerful, I think, for our whole community.
Any more questions? Clerk Mendoza?
Ms. Sisso, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much. You answered almost all my questions. I just got a couple. Have you had many teachers have an interest in teaching ethnic studies?
Well, all the ones sitting behind me are interested in teaching ethnic studies, plus the other two that aren't here tonight. And we have what, 13 that have? Yeah, 5 more in the second cohort who are getting the certification. So I think we ended, is it 13 or 14? Close? Yeah, I think it's 14 that
So-
have at least taken enough interest to enroll in a university program to become better prepared to teach.
Do you estimate how many teachers you'd need to cover the basis?
Oh, I mean, if we're gonna offer it as a freshman requirement and every freshman's gonna take it and you put, did you say yes, you've 9 teachers? 9.
Okay.
So three full-time teachers at each of the school sites, which means that would account for about 15 to 14 sections at each course. If when you guys approve it, you approve it as a freshman course requirement, meaning every freshman would take it.
Okay, and then the other thing is, in order to get a credit for graduation, how many semesters is it?
Our course is 2 semesters.
That's all I have. Thank you.
I have one more question. How about, what are we gonna do about Furman High School and Mountain Vista kid that's graduate out of there?
They'll take it as well.
Do we all have the courses?
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't mention it in there. You just said 3 high schools.
No, we're piloting it at the 3 high schools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Once it's fully implemented in 25, 26, it'll be at Furman, it'll be at Mount Vista, it'll have to be offered at Ripperton for the community. Yeah, it'll be a graduation requirement. So all students will have to have the opportunity to take the course. Yep.
What is just briefly, some of the feedback you got from the students that have already attended the pilot program, like at Torres and the other high school? As far as the courses what they have gotten from these courses.
So we're actually going to utilize Parsec Real I'm working on it. You'll get, I don't have current student feedback. I don't know. Do you have current student feedback that you'd like to share? But my plan is to use Parsec Real, and we're going to do some audio interviews with the current students that are actually in the course. I just didn't get my act together to get it done before tonight, but I'll bring it forward for the next meeting. But if you would like, I can have Ms. McCoy share with you some of
Some
the,
anecdotes, maybe?
yeah, some of it. I hadn't really prepared that for tonight. Okay. I have parent comments.
Yeah, just 1 or 2 comments from just to see. You could send it to me. That's fine. I don't have to hear it today. And then so this is gonna be the pilot, and it's mostly the beginning is going to be the first course, going to be like understanding where they're coming from, their culture, and understanding how my grandson says their amigo, where they're coming from and stuff like that, and even Russians and different diverse communities. And that I understand. At what point in the course, I hope that we're going to be having guest speakers or having field trips, people who have actually gone through those struggles, in getting into the field they're in right now. I've suggested numerous times, and maybe not, maybe this class or in the future, we have some corporations like in Fresno, even some here in Madera, that are mostly ran by Hispanics, and they're very innovative companies that our students should be seeing that, yeah, you can be in those trades as well.
So guest speakers are included, and I don't think I'm misspeaking, but I remember from this year, guest speakers are included throughout. They've brought, Ms. McCoy has brought in community members and local people to speak to the students. That's built in across the entire year. There's not just like one set time where they'll bring in guest speakers. That's something that will be integrated throughout the whole course.
Okay, and then my main concern is to make sure we're continuing with the resources, that the teachers will have the resources that they have. That means books or whatever
Yeah.
they need to have as far as that's concerned, because in some of the classes that I attended in Gave, some of the teachers were saying that they don't have the resources.
So
Or
one
have
of the
some-
challenges is the state, there's no book, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
Oftentimes we think a book is the answer. I'm sort of an anti-book person. I'm a go with the standards and develop the materials. So that's what we've really focused on, because there is no ethnic studies recommended book that you're just going to open up and teach from cover to cover. So we are continuing to work on resources. That's been a lot of the work that this team has done, is to identify appropriate resources to utilize for teaching the different units of study. So we'll continue to ensure, I would hope that we would never have a situation where our teachers would be able to say that they don't have the resources they need, both in terms of curriculum resources and teacher support resources.
And then another thing that making sure that some of these classes that our teachers are taking from the universities, that they're actually getting the teaching of how to implement these curriculums, how to implement these classes. And really drawing out of the student what their culture is and understanding where they're coming from, so they could prepare themselves of where they're going to in their future, whatever their plans are going to be. And then I think I mentioned before, one of the resources that I don't know, we have considered, because I haven't seen it, and I'm sure you have it back in detail somewhere in your curriculum, is getting some kind of resource maybe from Dr. Barbara Flores, because she does do a lot of ethics studies, and she has a lot of coursework on that as well. She's one of our local grown here in Madera, and so she's been around in with ethics studies. But that's all I have. Thank you. Any other questions, trustees?
The final comment, just to tag along, as you can see, we're all very interested in making sure that all the cultures are touched at some point, that the students, doesn't matter whether 98% Hispanics or 1% from Japan or whatever. I would like to see that our community, that this course brings unity, that brings our community together, that all the cultures value. For me, it's important that not just a majority, and also be sensitive that although Hispanics, I speak because I'm Hispanic, we had a lot of struggles. Students that are immigrants have had a lot of struggles, but like Trustee Cortez said, focus on the positive things, the things that have come up, and not from the point of victimized, because this happened to you, but focus more on like, this is what happened, but this is where you are, this is what our culture is, and every culture that should be the same. So that's all my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Dybert. Thank you. Moving on to 12B1 Fiscal Services, approved 23-24 second interim report, Superintendent Lyle.
Trustees, we are in luck. We have a pretty expert closer here in CFO Garcia. Ms. Garcia, take her home.
Thank you. I don't have a lot of time, so this all took a lot of, long time. So I'll go pretty fast. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, trustees. As every year, this is the time to present to you our second interim. So we're gonna review our enrollment and attendance. We're gonna look at the revenue and expenditures, our ending balance and reserve, or an update on the one-time funds, look at the multi-year projection, future years and ending balance and reserves, or checkbook balance, or cash flow, the other funds, and the OPEB trust. And for the OPEB trust, I have Mr. Dennis June, and he is the executive vice president of the PARS company, is where we have our OPEB trust with. So he will help me with some of the slides at the end of the presentation, and if you have any questions specifically on the OPEB trust. Okay, so as we are aware the state is in declining enrollment since 2016-17. But it was accelerated since the pandemic. So our district this year, our enrollment was projected at 20,312. Our CalPATS report was to 20,142. So we didn't have any growth this year. So it's the first year in Madera Unified that we didn't grow enrollment. So we updated our average daily attendance. So we're projecting at an actual attendance of 18,732. We are in the 3-year average funded. So we're gonna be funded at 19,116. So that will maintain of 95%. And so this year, we still are gonna be receiving the fundings that we would normally receive with the 95% average attendance, but future years, that average will lower. So in average, we receive about 16,000 per ADA. So the more students come to school, the more funds that we receive. Our general fund revenue is estimated at 439.3 million. It includes 11 million for the Earthsters on behalf that we have to show in our books. Unrestricted is 288.4 million, and or 66% of our total revenue. And our LCFF is 308.4 million, and that includes the 8.22% COLA that we received this year. The state and local revenue, 8.5 million. We are contributing 28.6 million to the restricted side of the budget, and that is to cover the restricted routine repair maintenance account and the special education. So in the restricted side, we have 151 million, 34% of our revenue is there. Federal revenue is 55.9, state revenue 59.6, local revenue 6.8, and you can see the 28.6 that came from the restricted side as a contribution. So what have changed since first interim? You can see in we have 3.5 in LCFF revenue, 2 million in the base, and 1.5 in supplemental and concentration. Federal, we have 3.1 additional millions and 3.8 in state. So that, and the major changes, I listed them in that the box in the right. You can see the 3.5 in LCFF, 300,000 additional in Title I, 2.8 million in Stronger Connections. It's a new grant that was received by the Student Services Department and is to focus on chronic absenteeism. 200,000 was added to the after-school program ACES, and 3.3 is the new grant that we received for the literacy coaches and reading specialists. So that is, we have currently we receive funds for Washington, Monroe, Millview, and Sierra Vista. That was what we received last year. The new year is for the schools are Nishimoto, Parkwood, Eastern Arcola, Rose, Dixieland, and Lavina. So Associate Superintendent Cecil is already working with her team to make sure that those funds are used at the schools that are receiving it. The general fund expenditures, we are at 458.3 million. It also includes the 11 million on Stars on Behalf. Our major expenditures, of course, is the salaries and benefits, 303.3 million, utilities 9.4 million. For major programs is the special education, 35.3 million, routine repair and maintenance account, 13.1, and transportation, 9.5 million. And so the next slide. The changes that has happened since first interim, as we present to you the core staffing in January, we also closed many positions that we were not gonna fill, and we also decreased the funding on open positions, vacancies that we have that we're not planning to fill for the rest of the year. So that's the negative 6.9 million that you see in salaries and benefits is that from those positions. Materials 29.5. So we reduce the funding on the grants that we're not gonna use this year. So we have a decrease of 6.9 in the closed vacancies and closed and vacant positions, and 40.8 million in grants that were not expected to spend by June 30th. So we're already planning to carry over those funds to next year. So those are the grants that we're estimating the carryover. The Extended Learning Opportunities Program, 25 million. It's the whole revenue that we received this year. We're not planning to spend it because we're still spending the carryover from prior years. So we have enough funding to cover the expenditures for this year. So we're carrying over the whole 25 million to next year. And we'll, at the workshop on Thursday, you're going to see where that 25 million is planning to be spent. California Community School Grant, 1.25 million. And we're not planning to spend that, so we're going to carry over. Arts, Music, and Instructional Materials Grant, we have 8 million in there. The A through G is 500,000. As you hear, the Associate Superintendent Cecil, we're still going to use those funds to help with the new course. Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, 15 million that we're going to carry over to next year. Remember that some of these grants have extended, we can extend the usage until 26 or 28. So we have time to spend those funds. The estimated ending balance is 146 million. And from there, we have the non-spendable, that is our inventory and petty cash. Those numbers don't change until we close the books, and then we update those numbers. Assigned vacation accrual is for the vacation that the employees that accrue vacation has in the books as of June 30th. So again, we'll update that when we close the books. Restricted, the restricted funds that I have is the 50.8 million. It is for the grants that I just talked to you about it in the previous slide. The committed funds is the funds that we have committed in the ending balance, and we have it for the textbooks, concentration funds for anything that is needed for new needs as or to cover those initiatives that we started with other funds and or one-time funds, and now we need to continue covering in future years. We're going to use that, and also the 22 million that we put assign in the ending balance to cover the positions that we started with COVID funds. And I'll give you an update on the next slide about that. So here are the one-time funds, and so as you can see, we're depleting as we go. We only have 5 left. And this year we have 49 million in the budget. And we removed the budget, some of the budget for the last 2 grants. And one is the Arts, Music, and Instructional Materials Grant. We removed 8 million from the budget. And also the Learning Recovery Grant, we removed 15 million from the budget. So those 23 millions will carry over for the future years. And as you can see, we have until 2026 and 2028 to spend those funds. So we're gonna stretch them as much as possible to make them last until the expiration date. Next slide. So there you see the 49 million in the budget, the 23 that is for carryover. And from the 49 million, we already encumbered 12.8. We have spent 22, and we still have 14 million to take us to the end of the year. From that 14 million, if we don't spend it all, then we'll be added to the 23, and we will carry to future years. So for the multi-year assumptions, we have, the certainties and uncertainties, and this step and column increases that is happening. The increases for CalSTRS, there's going to be no increase to the CalSTRS percentage for the district contribution. So that one is the same, 19.10%. CalPERS rate, on the other hand, is increasing from 27% to 28.1%. The 3% increase in health and welfare contribution that is happening. The 7-period at the high schools, we are making sure we're gonna have the funds to pay the teachers that we're gonna need, and they have been already approving course staffing. The uncertainties, the governor's proposed budget that he gave us in January, he was projecting a 38 million budget gap. On the other hand, the legislative analyst office was projecting like a 78 billion budget gap. Well, what we want to know is what it means for us as a district. So the good thing on the proposal is that it's no cuts to the K-12 education. So according to what the governor said in January, it's not gonna be cuts to the K-12. But we have to wait for the May revision to see if that is still holds. So we'll have to adjust our budget according to what he told us in May. So he plans to cover the gap with internal borrowing and using funds from the rainy day fund. So according to the multi-year projection, the board has prioritized the improvements and all in addition to the new facilities. So we've been doing this interfund transfer from general fund to Fund 41, that is our building fund. So we're continuing that for according to my projections for the next 4 years. For 23-24, we have 13 million. In the next 3 years, we'll still keep the 10 million according to the proposed budget from the governor. If the governor says in May that the COLA is gonna go 0, then those numbers will change. Okay, so as you can see, the 23-24, that already happened, the 8.22% COLA. Now let's focus on 24-25. The COLA is what the governor is projecting as a 0.76%. That only brings us 1.3 new revenue in the LCFF. But you can see our needs is 21.7 million. Stepping column is 2.8 million. PERS is about 500,000. Health and welfare, almost 1 million. We have services, of course, liability, utilities that will go up. We are projecting 600,000. We're decreasing vendor contracts as we presented to you in January. And so we are gonna reduce about 800,000 in contracts. New positions for core staffing that you already approved. These ones are the positions that are gonna be covered with LCFF funds. Anything that is grant funded or Title I, those are not included in that 3 million. Hussein Elementary School, that 180,000 is the principal and is the salary and benefits. The minimum wage is going up in January again. So we're accounting for that. It's very minimum, but we still have to make sure that we can cover. The positions paid with COVID, we're moving 14.4 million in positions that currently we're paying with COVID funds into the unrestricted general fund. I know that the deficit looks very big, 20 million, but remember that we have that committed funds that are gonna help us to navigate that deficit spending for the next few years. So, and I'm gonna use the committed funds as needed. So if I don't need to use the 22 million the first year, I'm gonna use it little by little until we can have enough revenue to cover those positions in the future. So the same thing for 25-26, the COLA is 2.73% according to what the governor told us in January. And our new expenditures is gonna give us about 6 million in new revenue, and our expenditures, the increases is about 7 million. So the difference there is not big, so only 1 million too. So future years ending balance, 23-24, we're gonna meet that 10% reserve cap. And so you see the 146 million ending balance. The committed funds are there, 46 million. And the restricted funds, 50.8 million. And so the unassigned reserve is 48. So that is the 10% reserve that give us. So the 24-25 or ending balance, 85 million. The committed funds, you see how the amount start decreasing from 46 million the current year to the next year. We're using about 7 million from there to cover those positions that we're moving to the unrestricted general fund, but we're still meeting that 10% cap. The same thing with 25, 26. The only line that is decreasing is the committed funds. And that is because we're covering that deficit spending because we're absorbing those positions back into the unrestricted general fund. We're still meeting that 10% reserve cap. So here is our checkbook balance. And so our cash at county, 198 million. And we have that negative fair value adjustment that we have to recognize at the end of the year, the 8 million. That one will be adjusted again at the end of this fiscal year, and it will change depending on the value that we receive for this year. We have the liabilities, is money that we owe, that we know we owe and we have to pay. So we have the accounts payable in health and welfare. We have, we are saving the funds in a pass-through account to pay our bills for that we know we owe. The retirees health and welfare, 1 million there. And that is where we pay their health insurance from. The classified summer assistant, we're saving the money that these employees are saving to get the state match at the end of the year in July. Deferred payroll is for the teachers, classified certificated staff that also have their summer savings, and or use tax that we pay every quarter. So our total liabilities is 11 million. So our cash balance after liabilities is 178 million. We still have a 706,000 that is owed to us. So our projected cash flow, as you can see, we are very healthy. We are not in need to borrow any cash. And so those numbers are actuals from July through January. So February through June are projections, but as you can see, we receive when we receive funds, and when we don't receive funds, it goes down a little bit, but it's very healthy that we're not in need to borrow any cash. For general fund monthly expenditures, the average is about 33 million a month. So for January, the expenditures, we spent 25 million in salaries and benefits, million in materials and supplies, services, 4.4 million, and that is in contracts, utilities, and other services. Capital outlay is any either equipment or construction or upgrades that we do, 800,000. And other expenditures, 2 million. And we have that transfer that goes to Madera County Superintendent of Schools, and that is for them servicing the students that belong to our district, but they are providing the services. So it's a 460,000 a month. And transfers to the other funds, 1.5 million. That was to pay our debts in other funds. So here are the year-to-date expenditures. The first graph is for the payroll. Because payroll we have to pay, we pay every month very steadily. So it's very, we're almost 50% already. The budget and the spend, it's a 50%. When in the other side, the material services and capital outlay, we have the budget there, but we're not paying at the same pace. So that's why you see that green area lower than the budget. The other funds, besides the general fund, we also manage other funds. The student fund 8 is the student special reserve, and that is for the ASB funds that we hold at all the high schools and middle schools. And we only update these numbers at the end of the year when we know the actual revenue and the actual expenditures from all the different accounts that we have at the schools. So we started with 841.8 848,000, expenditures at 104,000, and we have an ending balance of 737,000. The adult education is Fund 11, and our beginning balance was at 550,000. The revenue almost 2 million, and the expenditures is 2.2 million. So the ending balance is projected at 304,000. The child development is our preschool fund. And so 512,000 was the beginning balance, 4.8 million in revenue, and 5.3 in expenditures. And we're projecting an ending balance of 0. We never end with a 0, but everything is in the budget. That's what this is showing. So whatever we don't spend, it will fall in the ending balance and will carry over to the next year. Child nutrition, 7.8 million was our beginning balance. We're receiving 21.5 million. We're spending 21.7. That is what is in the budget. So we're planning, estimating the ending balance pretty much what the beginning balance was, 7.7 million. For building fund, Fund 21, we have a beginning balance 37.9, and that is where we receive the funds when we have a bond sale. And so we're holding the 37.9 that you see there is the 35 million that we sold for the King Hussein. And so we are not spending a lot yet because we have not breaking ground there, but pretty soon we're gonna start spending those funds. And it's not gonna be enough. So the 350,000 that you see in the revenue is just for holding the money at the bank. So it's a little bit of interest that we receive. 6.5 million is in the expenditures, and is what the facilities department has already POs for. We have the ending balance at 31.7, and like I mentioned it, we're gonna use it for the King Hussein construction. Developer fees, Fund 25, we started with 6.4 million. The revenue, we estimated at 2.5, and it's all the developer fees that we receive. If we receive more than what we budgeted, we increase it as more revenue comes in. Expenditures at 3.6. We have a 60,000 transfer out. It's just for administration, and the ending balance is at 5.3. Those funds can also be used to help Hussein School, or if we have a need for a portable in another school, we use it for that too. The redevelopment agency, 603,000 was the beginning balance, revenue 1.1. And you see that we don't have expenditures, but we have a transfer out. We use these funds to help us pay for the COP, that is the certificate of participation that we pay on Fund 56. So we take the 1.1 million and we bring it to Fund 56. The Fund 35 is the county school facilities, and that is where we receive our state match. So you see that we have 50 million in the beginning balance, and that is from Torres High School match, the Virginia Lee Rose match, and some of the projects at Madera South match that we receive is in there. And so it's just the reimbursement. We already spent those funds in advance, and now the state sent us the money, the match that we apply for. And so we have 7 million in revenue, and that was pretty much for the TK classrooms that we apply. And so we're spending, you can see we have 16 million already in expenditures there, and we have an ending balance of 41 million that will also be helping Hussein School. Fund 40 is our special reserve capital, and so we started with 1.2, and we don't have revenue in there. The 8,000 that you see there is just a little bit of interest for having that balance. And expenditures 1.8. And so we have that transfer in that comes from the unrestricted general fund, and that fund helps to fund any projects that don't meet the routine repair and maintenance. For example, if a well goes out in one of our schools and we have to repair it, it's always like thousands of dollars to pay for it. And so we use this fund for it.
Fund 41 is our special reserve building fund. We have 71.6 million in the beginning balance. The 400,000 in the revenue is interest. And we have the expenditures at 17.3 million, and that is pretty much the Torres High School Stadium that we're almost done with it. And the transfer in, you see that 13 million that comes from the restricted general fund, and is, help us to meet that 10% reserve cap in the general fund and help us keep those projects that the board already approved to keep them going. So Torres is one of the big ones as of right now. Fund 51 is where we receive the revenue there to pay for the bonds that the citizens pass throughout the years. And so we don't receive the money. The money is received by the treasurer's office, but we still have to show it in our books. So we have 8.4 million in the beginning balance. Revenue is estimated at almost 10 million. Expenses is about 11 million. So the ending balance is 7 million. And so those funds are not in our financial system. It's at the treasurer's office. But at the end of the year, we have to include it in our report to the state. Fund 56 is where we pay our COPs. And so we have two, the 2014 and the 2018 COP. The board approved to refinance the 2018. So tomorrow is that we're doing the bond sales. So we are very positive that we're going to receive good numbers and the district is going to be saving good money in this process. So, but we still have to make the payments until, even though we're refinancing, we're going to get a new schedule that is going to, the payment is going to stay pretty much the same. We're going to save in years. I think we're going to save about 4 years. And that will help, they save some money in the district in the future. How many? 24 million we're going to save in refinancing.
Just for 1 second on that, did we get the final posting from Moody's about the rating? S&P?
Yes.
I never saw the final one come in, and so the board is not aware that we've been upgraded.
Yes, and I don't want to take all the credit, but they were very impressed with how the district has managed the finances. And because we have shown throughout the years that we're very solvent and our finances are very carefully taken care of, we're a very healthy district that, I think the OPEB trust helped us a little bit on that too, that the district was upgraded in the interest rate. Okay, so then now we're going to talk about the OPEB trust, and I have on Zoom Mr. Dennis Yu, and he is the vice president from PARS that it will help me answer any question that you have about our trust. So as a reminder, we opened this account back in 2018. Our ending balance as of January 31st of 2024, 10.6 million. The district has contributed 9 million, and we have in earnings 1.6 million. We have paid 79,000 in fees. We still are doing the annual contribution of $500,000 every year. We already did this year in February, so it's already in our account. And this trust is saving for retirees' health in the future. So our goal is to have enough earnings to pay for the retirees' health and welfare from this trust and not be a burden to our general fund, unrestricted general fund in the future. So here, next slide. Here is the details. We have some good months and not so good months, but we still in the positive as year to date. Okay. So then I'll have Dennis, if you can help me with the next slides, please.
Yes, hello, good evening. The next slide simply shows the different investment strategies that are available within the OPEB Trust Program. The district is currently using what's called the balance strategy. So that's a strategy that has approximately 60% equity and 40% fixed income investments. The investments are invested primarily in index funds, so it's broadly diversified in a lot of different mutual funds. So from a performance standpoint, over the last 5 years, this trust has earned approximately 7.9% on an annualized basis. On a go-forward basis, we pretty much expect this trust to earn, approximately 6 to 6.5% on a go-forward basis. But please note that this is a long-term forecast. It doesn't mean that we're going to earn that each year, but again, over a 30-year horizon, that's what we would pretty much expect that. Okay. And I don't know if Arelis, if you need me to cover any more slides. Here's the returns that the trust has earned since the inception. Again, I mentioned earlier that the 5-year average return is approximately about 7.9% on this particular trust fund. Okay. And then you can see the year-by-year earnings and losses as a result of investing in that balanced strategy. Okay. Next slide. And the next slide just simply shows the historical returns in this trust program. And again, the district does have 4 different investment strategies that you can also look at. Historically, again, the district has always or historically used the balance strategy. But in the future, if the district ever wanted to consider a different investment approach, there are others that do either increase the risk profile or decrease the risk profile used in this particular program. But I want to say that the majority of our clients that have these type of OPEB trusts do use the particular strategy that you're currently using, again, which is that balance strategy. Okay. And then last slide that I'll cover is, again, as a reminder, the OPEB trust is a long-term investment. This is not something that the district is paying off your liabilities in 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years. This is a 30-year plus liability. And so that's where, again, using a disciplined investment approach will be very important from the district standpoint. So what we're trying to do within the PARS Trust is to, again, use a broad, diversified mutual funds, try to lower or minimize the management costs as much as possible, try to avoid time the market. So we're not trying to guess when the market's going to go up or down, but just try to maintain long-term discipline with respect to the investments. This portfolio does have, again, 40% bonds in the portfolio. So again, bonds will play an important role in the overall returns and investments of this portfolio. And then in the long run, the last bullet is that in order to try to minimize some volatility in the trust, we would always recommend making ongoing annual contributions to the program. And again, this is something that the district has done a very good job in, again, consistently making contributions to the program. And again, the benefit of that is that you can dollar cost the investments over time with these additional contributions. And that it concludes my report.
If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, I now open this for public comment. Mrs. Martinez?
If you wish to address the board regarding this item, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they appear on your screen. President Salazar, we do not have any participants who wish to address the board at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Seeing none come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? Trustee Dybert? Okay. Trustee Cortez?
Actually, I do have a question for the gentleman. What was his name? The gentleman
Dennis Yu,
sorry,
Dennis Yu,
Dennis Youth.
Y-U.
Dennis,
You,
como tú.
like me? Okay. Okay, so-
He's on Zoom, right?
Okay, yeah, so I just had a question with an individual, typically the younger you are, the more suitable a growth index. And as you grow older, typically you want to lean towards more conservative fixed income and or conservative. And now how is that different from the school district, being that I don't believe we necessarily have a time horizon, or do we?
Right. Yeah, the type of investments that you're talking about, personal investing versus institutional investing, it's a little bit of a different approach. Because with personal investing, unfortunately, all of us have an end date, so to speak, where again, we will, need assets over a certain period of time, and there will be a final period of time when, you won't need the investments or the assets at a given point in time. But with institutional investing, it is different because this is an ongoing obligation or ongoing liability that the district has. So the district offers retiree healthcare benefits. And as you keep hiring new employees year after year after year, this is a liability that continues to go on indefinitely. So kind of even as this plan ages, you really don't need to, change the overall risk profile because again, you keep adding new employees to this program. The only time when this might change, for example, is if the district decides, and I'm not advocating this by any stretch, but if some districts have actually stopped offering healthcare benefits or retiring healthcare benefits, if that were the case, then again, there might be an end date in mind. But again, as long as the district continues to offer this benefit going forward, again, this is why, again, you can have a very long-term perspective with this type of investment. And you can continue to invest, I'm sorry, in a more aggressive fashion.
Right, and I'm not suggesting we do this, but why would we not go to maybe growth?
That is a possibility that you can move to a portfolio that has more equity exposure. The issue is that sometimes the clients that we work with, it's hard for them to stomach the volatility that comes with a growth portfolio. So with a growth portfolio, you're looking at about 75% equity, 25% bonds. And what you will notice is a lot more wider swings in the investments. So some years will be very good, other years will miss the mark. But in the long run, it is expected to earn more because equities do earn more than the bonds over the long run. But again, some of the public agencies that we do work with try not to assume as much volatility, or do not want to include as much volatility. And so that's, again, why your district has gone the balanced route, which again, 60% equity, 40% fixed income, which is a more typical common investment that we see with, pension plans and OPEB trusts.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza, do you have any questions for staff?
No questions. Thank you.
The only questions I had was we've been attending a lot of budget meetings from the state and everything about saying some of the balances might be moved from one program to the other program. And I guess my biggest worry, I'm glad that our budget is pretty good. My main concern is that our COLA might be just 0.76 next year. Maybe it might even be lower. And that's one of my main concerns. And of course, because we have, the minimum wage, all the other uncertainties that we have as well, and our ADA. I know we're working on some of our chronic absences, so hopefully we can better work on those kind of issues that we have. But my main concern is our COLA for next year and the following year, because whatever he's saying the budget is that he's expecting, and then you have the other, I forget, agency that say no, that it's going to be more. Yeah. And so those uncertainties, and of course, we're not going to know for sure until May. And of course, the other day we had, what is it, Fresno Unified, their school board was already starting to cut back. You know, I just, you know, keep out there in our executive staff and and our directors that we watch our budget as closely as we can so we could prepare for the future.
Yes,
Thank
and I can say that we as a district are in a very positive position to the, if anything, you know, negative or not as positive comes from the state, we have time to react. So I will say that the district is in a good position for the next 3 years, even with zero COLA. But of course, we'll still have to be mindful of, you know, cutting of positions that are not filled, like open positions or contracts that we can live without. We'll have to make those decisions. And of course, negotiations, that is a big, you know, very important for our employees. So we'll have to make those decisions. But even with zero COLA, we have time to react so we don't have to, you know,
Panic.
yes, to make any drastic decisions or cut programs in our schools.
Yeah, because we have, King was saying, of course, we'll be talking about our facilities and making sure that we could finish housing some of our students and try to make that, keep our commitment of keeping the class sizes down. Thank you very much. Trustee Cyber, did you have any questions for staff? Okay, thank you very much. Now, I entertain a motion, a second to approve item 12B1. Please state your name and what. We just did it, right? I asked you, you said no. Oh, no, we did that before. Yeah. Okay. I now entertain a motion, a second to approve item 12B1. Please state your name when you make a motion and second the motion.
Trustee Dybert, I move to approve the 23-24 second interim report.
And I second it. It has been moved by trustee Dybert and second by myself, trustee Salazar, to approve item 12B1. Ms. Martinez, please pull the board.
Trustee Duca Martinez is absent. Trustee Lianos is absent. Trustee Ahmad, absent. Trustee Cortez,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek is absent as well. Trustee Cybert,
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza,
Yes.
President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 4 absent. 2 of the votes are preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Item number 13, announcements. Superintendent Lyle, do you have any announcements for the board?
I do, just a few, and I'll run through them quickly. March 14th, this Thursday, we will hold a special board workshop discussing prioritization of district facilities. We begin at 5 PM right here in the boardroom. On Saturday, March 16th, the MUSD Job Fair begins at 8 AM and runs till 3 PM right here at the district office and across the street. Please stop by. The HR team takes great pride in this event, and they've been planning it for a really long time. We're looking forward to it. On March 18th, the DLAG meeting will be held at 6 PM right here in the boardroom. On March 19th, the Madera High School 10th grade graduate profile showcase day will happen at Madera High. It'd be great for you to come by and see it. I think you'd be really impressed, and it'll be good to get some feedback. On March 20th, America's Battle of the Books will take place from 8:45 AM to 1 PM at Torres High School. Last year, it was a smash hit, and I know the kids are really excited about it, so that might be a really fun thing to come out and see kids get really excited about reading. It's like academic decathlon, but just around reading fun stuff, and kids love it. On March 21st, we have the Benito Juarez birthday celebration at Lavina School. This begins at 10:30, ends at 11:30. It's a short presentation, but it celebrates the students learning through the Madera method. And these are our 8th graders from Easton, Arcola, and Lavina. We hope it will include your attendance, and we currently have confirmed attendance from Mayor Garcia and the Republic of Mexico's Consul General from Fresno. March 25th through March 1st, or excuse me, through April 1st will be spring break, so no students. Please don't come rolling in and think you're going to find somebody, because I hope this place is closed. And then on April 2nd, the Madera Unified Guard Percussion Showcase will take place at 5 PM at Torres High School. That'll be really, really fun. Like those kids are kind of the rock stars of the campus. So that's quite a lot.
Thank you, Superintendent. Item number 14, miscellaneous. Board members, committee, and information reports. Trustees, there's an opportunity for you to provide the board updates or reports from committee meetings or events you have attended. Trustee Ahmad is absent. Trustee Dybert.
Yes, let me see. On Friday, March 1st, I, along with Trustee Cortez and guided by AA.S. Carrasco, visited 3 school sites in the Purple Pyramid. We visited Rose Elementary and stopped at a couple of classrooms, but due to the rain, we could not see class in action, but visited with a couple of teachers there. At MLK, we visited with Principal Tina Denayu, I don't know, sorry, I can't pronounce her last name well, and talked about math programs at middle school, and then proceeded to visit an ELD 3 classroom. And my apologies that I can't remember the other classroom that we visited, but maybe Trustee Cortez can touch on that. At Madera South High School, we were very excited. We also visited with Principal Steinmetz, and we observed a career classroom in public safety. I was impressed by the engagement students have with law enforcement agencies, not only from the United States, but from other countries. Mr. Ricky Hernandez showed us a letter a student received from a law enforcement agency in Alaska. And the officer that wrote back to the student was a former stallion. It was just funny how it was a former stallion who was pleasantly surprised by the letters. The teacher, Mr. Hernandez, has badges from all over United States and other countries, letters even from, I believe, from England. There were some letters that they received. The kids are excited about it. On Monday, March 4th, I partially attended the Budget and Finance Committee meeting, and I know CFO Garcia presented what we saw today. On Tuesday, March 5th, I, along with 4 other trustees, attended the school board dinner provided by the Teacher Association from Fresno Madera County. And I wanted to thank Mr. Holder for inviting us. I had a good time. Thank you.
Trustee Cortez.
So I just want to thank the OAS, Jesse Carrasco, for taking us around on March 1st to visit Madera South and Virginia Lee Rose, as well as MLK. And I want to also thank the principals at those sites for hosting us and showing us around. Unfortunately, we weren't able to meet with Jesus Navarro as he was away with a family emergency, but Principal Steinmetz was able to showcase some of the career pathway classrooms and how children had been working on small engines, electrical, among other things, as well as the classroom that we visited that Trustee Gladys just mentioned. And Principal Tenine-House, I think hopefully I got that right. I wanted to send a shout out to her and also to Miss Bunch. I don't recall what classroom, what grade that was, but when we walked into her classroom, she was in the middle of going over Me2B reports with students and instructing students on how to access areas, how to access the Me2B within there, and then also going over their fall RIT scores, winter RIT scores, and asking students if they showed growth and what their goal was for the spring. And how much do you need to grow when you take the test next week? And what are 2 things you can do to help you achieve this goal? So I think that's, I wanted to shout out to Ms. Bunch because, I have heard in the past, that, the Me2B, the NWA sometimes is getting downplayed in importance. And so I'm glad to see that that's clearly not the case in Ms. Bunch's classroom. So shout out to her again. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you, Trustee Cortez. Trustee Seibert.
Yes, I attended the career fair, 6th grade students. And it's a big turnout, and they had a lot of really good exhibits or different career pathways and some PG&E also Span Construction had setups there. But it gets better every year. Only problem they had was with buses. Because their athletic department decided to change their track meet from Friday to Thursday. And it kind of messed everything up. But I mean, they look forward to, whoever gets those buses signed up early should have had prior on those buses. And maybe they need to get some outside bus drivers or something because they kind of messed up the scheduling.
I think we all just felt the salt in our wounds right now because none of us liked that situation. And busing is a constant challenge.
Yeah, well, they had all the
The
buses lined
smile
up.
on my
for
face
this.
is just out of just like pure pain at this
Yeah.
point.
Well, the last minute, Marty made a change and kind of really hurt their scheduling. But hopefully that don't happen. But it's really a good fair.
And we would have liked to have had that not happen. We had a pretty rough storm. And we need to make sure we're really looking at the calendar and seeing what our options are. So we'll work on it. Right.
Clerk Mendoza.
Yes, I was kind of busy. I attended with some of the trustees, the board dinner in Fresno, hosted by MUTA. Attended the LCAP. I also attended the MCSBA and I went to the conference for CSPCA, which they did internal interviews and investigations and retention and processes to hire and recruit folks. And then I also attended the CABE. And I think I provided some notes for that, but I can also provide some notes for the CSPCA at a later time. That's about it.
Thank you, Clerk Mendoza. As for myself, I also attended the Madera County School Board Association, the meeting and the presentation, and they always have good speakers and from Sacramento, and he was sharing, of course, about the budget and the proposed different transfers of some of the funding that might happen. Attended, was very happy to attend the Toro boys football team that got their rings and their ceremony for their championship. Also attended via Zoom the CalCed, again, talking about, it was in Sacramento. I attended via Zoom on the budget and different proposals that, trying to guess how the budget's going to be going. So all those are still up in the air. And also I attended the CCEE on Zoom for reimagining education. It was insights from Madera Unified School District, and I loved the presentation. It was Washington, Sierra Vista, and Nishimoto, I think it was. And I liked the presentation they had and everything, and I'm hoping that our rest of the schools are following. Also attended the dinner with MUTA. Thank you, Mr. Holder, for the invite. It was a nice dinner and nice to get together and enjoy each other's company away from our meetings and stuff. And that's all for myself. Board, I already got for, thank you, trustees. Advanced planning. Again, just a reminder, on 3/14, which is this Thursday, we're gonna have a special board meeting at 5 p.m. The next regular board meeting is scheduled for April 9th. Any suggested future agenda items, trustees? Trustee Dybert?
I don't have any items. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Cortez?
None, thank you.
Trustee Ahmad's gone, please gone. Trustee Seibert?
No,
Clerk Mendoza?
No, not at this time.
Okay, so it is 9:59 p.m. and I adjourn this meeting. Drive home safely.